Cincinnati, we gon' rise and in the jungle we unite and trippin' orange and black and white. All day when we fight, live and die in these stripes. Now who got 'em, who rockin' on? Now who wanna move crossin' on? Now who wanna move out on? If you got stripes, then you let the city know you rock 'em. Yeah, we got 'em, yeah, we got 'em. Like that black and orange up on 'em. Single bottle, never stop it. To the beast of Eastern know 'em. Who they rockin' with the diamond stripes, flossin' on the ring. Cincinnati, she's our queen. We gon' show the world who king. Orange in the day, black in the night. Stripes in our veins, sparks gonna fly. The beast is awake, orange, black and white. Cause when the jungle come alive, who day we ignite and
to Bengals and Brews. Didn't realize I had my stuff off. My bad. And I'll try not to say any F words, but that won't last long. But you're right. I am smooth. People don't like it sometimes when you say the F word. I mean, I'm just reading the comment, so technically I'm just reading a comment here. It says, you mean fucking welcome. Just saying. Yeah, so watch the Chiefs versus Texans. Should have my buddy Dustin hopping on from Bengals Army here in a little bit. Watch that Chiefs-Texans game. It was pretty boring. I mean, the Texans were in it. They had every chance to be in it, except the referee said, nope, we got Taylor Swift here. We got Caitlin Clark here. We've got to cut to them at least 10 more times during this game. So what we're going to do is throw these phantom roughing penalties that were just ridiculous. Mahomes flops. And, like, dude, you're running around. You're a runner. You're downfield. You're just, like, teasing these guys to come at you, and then you drop down real quick. Then they hit each other, and that's a flag. And it's thrown by the guy who can't even see it from the backside. The guy directly in front of it, the ref there, nothing. No flag called by him. They huddle together, still throw the flag. And that was the second one of the game. The first one was another phantom one on Will Anderson early on against Mahomes. Head-to-head. He didn't hit him in the head. Not a penalty. That would have been a 3-and-out for the Texans right away, led to 3 points for the Chiefs. Just frustrating to watch because, you know, there was other calls you could talk about, but those two were terrible. And then you had Mahomes flopping. Before he, you know, I'll give him credit for the touchdown pass to Kelsey. He made a great play on that next play after that. But when he flopped, trying to get another penalty out of bounds because he stops in bounds to where they got to shove him out because otherwise he'll just go for 5 or 10 more yards. He does that dirty-ass shit all the time. And then you hit him as a defensive player, and they throw a flag on you. So you're in a no-win situation. You got to make sure he's out of bounds. But then if you touch him, then penalty on you. So it's frustrating to watch and see that he gets these calls. It kills me because, I mean, they're a good team. Spags is a great defensive coordinator. I won't take anything away from them. Kelsey's been unbelievable. He had a good game. Sometimes I don't know what the Texans were doing, just letting them run wide open. And then George Karlaftis, man, 3 sacks. That was my dude. I'm like, we're not going to have a chance to draft him. It was the year we drafted Dax Hill at like pick 31 or something like that. And he goes 30th to the Chiefs. 1 pick before us, 3 sacks today. He was an absolute monster. The Chiefs as a team sacked C.J. Stroud 8 times. We know what that feels like. Luckily, Burrow was able to win that game against the Titans, but that's what it was like out there today for C.J. Stroud. That is not a good offensive line. The interior of that O-line is very bad. Their guards are bad. I mean, we know we have the worst guards this past season, but they got to be second for guard play. Just bad. And Kenyon Green, who they played earlier in the season, benched. Shaq Mason looked awful out there. So just a terrible game. And then the kicker for them, he missed the kick, missed an extra point, and then he had one blocked there at the end when there was any semblance of hope still left. So just kind of funny to me that, you know, the refs get the calls, the kicker all of a sudden can't kick at all, and the Chiefs move on. And we get to see more Taylor Swift. Yeah, and I'll get some of the comments here. Yeah, no one is surprised by the refs favoring the Chiefs. Yeah, the week 2 call, man, still haunts me for the Bengals. We'd have been in the playoffs. Maybe we beat the Bills, maybe we don't, but we might have been playing in that game tonight had we been able to do that. And I think that's the Chiefs team that the Bengals could have beat. I know our defense was bad, but And yeah, it's just frustrating to watch for sure. Yeah, I can't be saying them F words, Austin, man. People don't like that on here. Yeah, yeah. And man, the Chiefs been getting away with that all year long with these false starts. They called one early, and I was like, oh, if they're going to call this, the Chiefs are in trouble. Never seen it called again. Jawan Taylor is the worst at it. That's the right tackle. Came from the Jaguars, was a second-round pick back in the day, I believe out of Florida. But, man, he sucks. He's like one of the most penalized offensive linemen in the league. And they could call so many more on him because he's lined up in the backfield. He's jumping early to get set again against the rushers. It's quite comical, honestly. Yeah, and the flags were just bullshit. I think bullshit's an acceptable term. I mean, poor use of the English language, maybe, but it is what it is. Yeah, I was rooting for him too, but they're down 2 top receivers in Diggs and Tank Dell. Joe Mixon had a good game. I think things worked out well for him going to the Texans, and I think it worked out well for the Bengals and getting to see the emergence of Chase Brown finally. So, good season for Mixon. He's a Pro Bowler. Good for him. I was hoping they could get the win because I just don't like the Chiefs. I cannot root for the Chiefs. I don't care if it means Josh Allen gets a Super Bowl before Joe Burrow, that Lamar Jackson gets a Super Bowl before Joe Burrow. I'm okay with that as long as the Chiefs are not three-peating. I can't stand them. I can't stand the calls they get. I can't stand how it seems like the fix is always in because NFL loves their ratings and they love the Taylor Swift and now Caitlin Clark up there in the press box. It's just like, come on, man, get out of here with this nonsense. And then we're getting ready to have a game that's kicking off, I believe, around 8 o'clock. NFC matchup between Pork Chops Washington Commanders and his boy Jaden Daniels from LSU taking on the Lions, who they're the 1 seed. They're the favorite. But I could see Washington hanging around in that game, but I do think Detroit's just too good on both sides of the ball. I think Detroit will ultimately win that game. Yeah, I get it. I know there's a lot of people that are like, I'd rather see the Chiefs win than Lamar or Josh Allen or even the Lions because they're like, man, Lions can't get a Super Bowl before the Bengals. Never hear the end of that. But so I'm kind of rooting for, a Commanders. I mean, the Eagles, they've got some Super Bowls. I don't care if they win it. The Eagles can win it. I'll be okay with that. That's best case scenario. But if I had to go like Bills, Ravens, or Chiefs, I'm going with whoever wins this Bills-Ravens game tomorrow. I would rather see them beat the Chiefs and just not even have the Chiefs in the Super Bowl for a chance to watch the refs hand them another one. Just can't do it. And the Lions, man, as I talk about, that's my Portsmouth Spartans, so I'd be all about that. But, yeah, I'm with you too. Yeah, NFC win. And I hope it's the Lions, but, most of the NFC teams, I don't really care. Rams, maybe the Rams can get in there and do something. Who do they play? The Eagles, I think. So I think that'll be a good matchup as well tomorrow. Sucked off too many men off not to get these wins. Hey, Roger Goodell, or just giving tickets, honestly. Those tickets are so expensive and such a high commodity to her concerts. She's got to give out tickets to the NFL front office and the NFL officials and their families. Boom. They're getting them favorable calls when they really need them. Yeah, I'm with you, Chris. I can't watch another Chiefs Super Bowl. Jobu says the Eagles have the best shot. And I know Austin, he likes the Eagles. So, hey, I'm here for it, man. He's going to talk a lot of stuff. I don't know what happened with Dusty here. I told him 7:30. I thought he was going to be tapping in. Hopefully he's on here soon. Because, I don't like just carrying the show here by myself. But I'll tell you what. So what I'll do is put something in the link. Maybe one or two of you hop on. At least give me a few minutes on here. Pop in, give your thoughts on the NFL, the playoffs, who you want to see win, and why. Why you don't want it to be Lamar. But there's the link in the chat if anybody wants it. Yeah. Going to talk about Ohio State, Notre Dame as well. So I don't necessarily want to pivot to that yet, NFL draft talk, but we can talk about whatever you guys want to talk about in the chat. That's always a lot of what we do here on Bengals and Brews. The Brew Crew, you guys are just as much as part of this show as as me or Pork Chop, or certainly more than Derek, because he's usually just driving home from work. And then when he's actually home, he's not coming on the show. He just doesn't do it. See, that's a bad part when you're on by yourself. You can't even take a drink of this delicious Nectar of the Gods Miller Lite. And we got a guy hopping in here. A familiar name guy here. Don't see a face yet, but see if he can hear me. What's up, Anthony?
Not much, man. What's going on with you?
Just watched that game, talking a little bit about it. Did you get a chance to watch the Chiefs-Texans?
Yeah, me and my brother were at Hooters and watching it. So.
Oh, Hooters, huh?
Yeah, me and my brother. So.
It's for the food, right?
Hell no, it ain't for no damn food. I'm gonna be honest, but hell no, it ain't for no damn food. Shit, but
it's a good, nice atmosphere.
Oh yeah,
good.
But I know for me at this point, as far as who wins it, our Bengals aren't in it, so it's like I'm not emotionally vested.
Right.
But if I gotta say it, I think it's gonna be Bills and Lions.
That's kind of what I'm hoping for. I just, I don't have a lot of hate for the Bills. I like Josh Allen as a quarterback. I certainly love to see him beat Patrick Mahomes next week, especially. And then the Lions, man, it's just like that's a downtrodden franchise. I can relate to that, and them getting in the Super Bowl would be a hell of a success for them. And then if they could win it, cool.
But I want to throw this out there to you, and I want you to think about this. The last few times that the Bills have no problems beating the Chiefs in the regular season, but it seems like always in the playoffs when they cross paths, that's where they get their asses spanked. I don't know. For me, I got a feeling. I think if the Bills beat the Ravens, I think Allen owes Mahomes and Kelsey a little stiff kick in the ass.
He definitely does. I think they'd be up for that game. Like I tweeted early on in that game, I feel like you've got to beat the Chiefs and you've got to beat the officials.
But that's why you get ahead early. You get an early lead. That's why you don't give them a reason or give them anything to be able to try to have the momentum swing the other way. That seemed all season long to be our thing, is that we would get ahead of steam going. We'd start to get momentum going our way. And then as soon as things get a couple bad calls, it seems to go back the other way. So I don't want to see the Chiefs get the three-peat, because then there's not going to be shutting their fans up for anything.
Yeah. Yeah, and their fan base is already annoying. They don't understand why people complain about the refs against them. It's like, how can you not see it? Like, you get every call. The Texans getting a 3-and-out right away would have been huge, and instead the Chiefs get 3 points. They were handed those 3 points to start the game. It's hard to get a lead on them because they'll just hand them points early.
You're not wrong. I know for me, I think you can't let them get ahead early. The thing is, you got to. It seems like so far the only defensive coordinator that I've seen be able to at least have somewhat of a blueprint on how to beat Mahomes was Lou. But obviously, we're not going to have Lou this season coming up. But you would think that the rest of the league would be taking notes. And as much as I'm going to say this, and I think some people are going to probably get a little bit rattled by this, and maybe some people might turn around and hate on me for saying this, but is Mahomes good? Yes. Do I think he's an all-time great? We're going to have to wait and see. I think the first big test of his greatness, because a lot of people think that Mahomes was carrying Reed. I don't think so, because he was already an established coach with the likes of McNabb. He made a rather pedestrian Kevin Cobb look like a fucking all-pro. and made Alex Smith look fantastic. I think what's going to end up having to happen is I think the test of his greatness is going to be when Kelsey retires and when
We got a Chiefs fan in the chat here, Graham. Hey, listen, you got a good squad. I'm just saying, there's no way in the world you cannot admit that you get some very favorable calls. I mean,
oh yeah, no, I'm right.
each other in the head, you got the call, but at the end of the day, you guys, you win a lot of football, man. And be like, hey, you're just jealous. Well, hell yeah, I'm jealous. I want a Super Bowl, man. I want my team to win one. Of course.
Oh yeah, no, I think the test of his greatness is going to be when Kelsey retires and when Reed retires.
I do think he's great, though. Like, I mean, I think that's a fair take. I get it. I understand what you're saying, but most of Brady's career, he had Belichick, and then at the end, he still won with Tampa Bay, so that kind of put the stamp on his. But man, anytime it's hard to win a Super Bowl in the NFL. So winning 2, potentially winning 3, and Pat's still a young guy, like, and he does make big plays at big times. Like, he frustrates the hell out of me with the way he flops, but I do think he's an all-time great. I think he's already there. And I think he'll definitely be there, like even stats-wise and things when his career's all said and done. But I understand what you're saying for sure.
No, I'm just saying that's all I'm saying. I think that's going to be because that was the thing with Brady. I think a lot of us thought he was a system quarterback. I think a lot of us ended up eating crow once he left and went to Tampa and got a Super Bowl with them.
Yeah,
I think that's the big thing where I'm sitting, but. Grim, hey, you're entitled to your opinion. That's just where I stand. No offense.
yeah, yeah. I will. Yeah, Ben. I can't say the F word. I offended that guy yesterday. I'm trying to forget his name already. I don't know if you've seen that.
Hold on. You said fuck. I'll just say it. Fuck.
Yeah. I mean, this is a guest. I can't control what a guest says on here, so
On behalf of Dale, fuck the Chiefs.
But this guy was mad yesterday. He said that our use of the F word on this show is very disappointing and something, and bad use shows low intelligence or something, and bad use of the English language. I'm like, okay.
Hell on my show. Me and Will use the word fuck probably more than anything and more than anybody.
It's funny though.
So it's like sometimes it's football. The word fuck, LOL, it was your team winning, the refs wouldn't matter.
Hey, if it was my team winning and the refs were helping, you're right. But I would say, hey, the refs, hey, we got a favorable call on that. I would say, hey, we got a favorable call. We've been getting some favorable calls. We're still winning. Kiss my ass. But I would admit it. That's all I'm saying. I would admit that Mahomes gets very favorable calls. And listen, I think the great quarterbacks should almost get a little more favorable calls. Maybe they shouldn't, but they should. And if Mahomes is going to get him, Joe Burrow should get him. That's my point. Josh Allen should get him. It should be a little more consistent on protecting all quarterbacks. You know what I mean? Joe Burrow getting his helmet ripped off at the end of a game. Sam Darnold getting his helmet ripped sideways at the end of the game. How could you miss that stuff, man? The NFL officiating across the board is just really bad, too. It's not just the Chiefs. It is league-wide piss-poor officiating. And Roger talks about adding another regular season game instead of fixing his damn officiating and how poor it is.
Well, but the Chiefs also, though, you hear the Chiefs do their fair share of complaining. Hell, when we beat them in the AFC Championship game, the year we went, hell, they were complaining. They were bitching and complaining from the jump. So, like you said, it is what it is. In that sense, it's just you'd like to see the game. If it's going to be called down the middle, let it be called down the middle. Don't let them play physical from the start and then right in near the end of the game start wanting to throw the flag on everything.
Yeah,
and that's the only thing. If you're going to let them play, let them play.
Yeah, I thought it was a well-officiated game overall when we played the Chiefs in Kansas City this year in week 2. And then they throw that flag on like a 4th and 17 when they never throw a flag. Both guys are going up for the ball. It's just like, come on, man. How does that
And that
happen
is
like so often? That's the frustrating thing as fans to see. And it's not just from Bengals fans. You see a lot of other fans around the league saying the same stuff. Troy Aikman was calling it out today how ridiculous it was. What dog does Troy Aikman have in that fight? He's just calling what he sees, and he calls games every week, and he sees that it's BS that things are going this way for this one team and this one guy.
Well, but I think I do think that I don't think the NFL rigs games, but I think they have their favorites of who they want to win.
And then the gambling too. Like I seen something that said the Chiefs were like 9.5-point favorites, and they ran that safety out, so they lost by 9. It's like, woo! I mean, gambling. It's interesting that how some of these gambling lines at the end of the day end up swaying right toward the end of a game somehow.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. I would agree. But let me ask you this, because I know you're going to talk about it Monday. What's your thoughts on the finalists for the defensive coordinator?
Yeah, so Patrick Graham and Al Golden. And Al Golden didn't necessarily say, no, I'm not leaving Notre Dame. He pretty much said it's not fair to these kids to talk about. I'm honored to be in consideration for anything like that and being mentioned. Sounds like good chance Al Golden's the guy. I'm still not 100% convinced. I'm good with either one personally, like from everything.
That's where I sit. I'm good with either one.
Like good with either one, but I do think it's Golden. But the only holdup with Golden is still like he's got a kid coming into Notre Dame as a freshman, and he also makes $2 million already. Could get another pay increase from there. And we were only paying Lou after he had been here several years and a Super Bowl trip and back-to-back AFC championships, $1.5 million.
Was it like 1 point? What was it like?
1.5,
yeah, 1.5.
So I'm just curious to see, you're going to pay Al Golden $2.5 million a year. Like,
But I'm curious, though.
I've said, Anthony, like if it was me and I was a coach, I would much rather just coach in the NFL. Like if I made $1.5 million or $2 million or $1.8 million or $2 million, that $0.2 million, I think I'd rather coach in the NFL, honestly. One, it's a bigger league, but just as a coach for the stress, because this college coaching right now has to be crazy. It's always been crazy because you recruit year-round. You're on the road year-round. You're visiting players and their families year-round. But then you throw in this NIL stuff, and you're losing guys constantly, having to re-recruit guys, having to bring in new players, figure out how you're paying them through NIL. I think it sounds like a big ass headache, honestly, to be a college football coach anymore. So, if I had my choice, I would pick NFL.
Well, that's why Saban retired, and that's why Chip Kelly went from being the head coach of UCLA down to being an OC for Ohio State, because he got tired of it. I think that was largely why they stepped down, because they didn't want to deal with the NIL. I can understand on some respect why NIL was put in place, because before the NIL policy was put in, they were pretty much using the kids' names and likenesses anyway. But I'm with you. I think
it seems like Golden, though, right? Because Graham, like they could already have him in here. Unless the money doesn't work out, then it sounds like their choice. And it's such a Bengals thing, right? And not that it's a bad move, but the Bengals love somebody with connections. And being our linebacker coach when we went to the Super Bowl, I mentioned it literally early November. I mentioned the name Al Golden.
Yeah, but we all kind of saw the writing on the wall. I thought on the back half of the schedule that there was a slight chance that they were going to try to keep Lou, but that ended up not happening. So when it did get announced that, hey, he got fired, it didn't come as a surprise. But because I think for me, would you and I'm going to throw this out there. I want to get your thoughts. Is it just me, or I kind of get the feeling, I think once Jesse and Vaughn both left, Lou had a hard time adjusting and being able to either have a change in philosophy or being able to try to help, along with the defensive position coaches, develop the younger guys that were coming in.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. All coaches lose players. You've got to be able to, the guys you have, you get them in there. And also, like, we're playing better at the end. you have to know, like, hey, I'm throwing too much on these guys' plates. Also, Sam Hubbard's out here playing injured. I should be getting these younger guys in. We all thought Jordan Battle should have been playing more. You know, I mean, we loved what Von Bell did, but when he came back, but that wasn't the same Von Bell from 2 years ago.
Oh
And
no,
it's just
I'm
like,
not. I'm not.
I know
disagreeing.
it's just frustrating. Like, yeah, I know it definitely never helps when you lose a Jesse Bates. Like, he's the best safety in the NFL. That's always going to hurt. But like, then you've got to, I don't know, man. You still got to coach your guys up. And 2 years in a row, that's the thing. And kind of goes here with Marco's question, which about if Golden's the new DC, will we have a big part in who we pick in the draft? But that's the same thing with Lou. Hell yeah, because we've had former coaches on here, Jay Gruden, Hugh Jackson, all these guys. They say that's why what they loved about coaching here was how much of a say they got in who they were able to draft. I mean, they were part of that process, part of that decision all the time. So was Lou. And you're going to be also have a hand in free agency. Now, it's not always going to work out, especially free agency with the money. But I do think the draft, they certainly lean on their coaching staff. They're certainly going to lean on their defense coordinator for defensive additions, which is a lot of what we need. I mean, we definitely need 2 guards. I think 1 in free agency, 1 in the draft. But I think other than that, it wouldn't shock me if everything else is defense. You could take a running back, you could take a tight end, you can always take a receiver. But if
I do think though that they're going to get a running back either in free agency or the draft to try to complement Chase Brown.
Well, I think both. I think you re-sign Herbert. We talked about this on yesterday's show. Re-signing Herbert and then also drafting somebody on day 3 like a Damian Martinez, a Taj Boyd, a Kalel Maulings, guys that are bigger, short yardage thumpers, but also can.
You're thinking along the lines of what I was thinking. Yeah, that way on the shorter yardage. All right, here's a guy that says Miles Murphy, Dax Hill, Osai, Jordan Battle, DJ Turner. They each had a time they should have had more PT and weren't getting any, which also
how
limits
are you going to
development.
get better if you're not playing on the field? You know?
And shout out to my guy that made that comment. Hey, no, you're 100% on point. I do think, at least I think next year going in, I think the defensive line, with the fact that I think Chris Jenkins and McKinley Jackson will get more playing time, will definitely help because they started to come on the backside of the schedule. I think if it were me, where would you go first round? First pick, you're at pick 17. I'm leaning towards edge rusher or defensive tackle. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm a similar mindset, and I think the board's going to fall to where you've got a good edge or you've got a good D tackle staring you in the face at 17. I'm not opposed to a trade down because we only have 6 picks. So to recoup maybe another day 2 pick, then you got 3 day 2 picks between the 2nd and 3rd round, and you slide down, maybe 7, 8, 9 spots, still get your 1st round guy. But I'm also not opposed to it being a guy that can play guard. If that's the best guy on your board, whether that's Armand Membao or Tyler Booker, I'm not opposed to that being the guy. I think the safety out of Georgia, Starks, if he falls to 17, best safety in this draft. I like Xavier Watts too. He's my 2nd guy. But literally, Starks can cover like a corner. So having that and having a guy who I think would be the most talented guy clearly at safety since we lost Jesse Bates, I would like Starks if he falls to 17. I wouldn't have a problem with that, but that would have to mean, hey, we're cutting Geno Stone and saving that money. But that decision would have to be made before the draft, in my opinion, because you save that money, you wouldn't have used it already in free agency the month before. So that's a tough thing to do,
No, I get that, because right now, correct me if I'm wrong, if free agency were to begin tomorrow, we're sitting at like 60, 65 mil as far as available cap space.
I don't think it's that much now. At first, it was supposed to be that much. And then I've seen something a little less. We did do a show about that. But we can basically, I think it's like, I've seen something maybe around 47 now. Either way, you're starting with like 47, but you can double that easily just by cutting like Hubbard, Rankins, Kappa, and then potentially Zach Moss and like Geno Stone and Jermaine Pratt. Those are the 6 guys that, at least, not saying they'll cut all 6. I think 3 or 4 of those are no-brainers. And then like, Stone and Pratt depends on the D coordinator and what he wants to do with, I think, Stone and Pratt.
Yeah, you mentioned Hubbard though, because the thing that comes to mind with me, and you and I have been longtime Bengals fans, and I think you know this better than I do. There's always a couple of guys on the team that they hold on to longer than they probably should have.
Yeah.
So I think some of those are Mike Brown guys, because I've heard things from people that I know that Mike Brown gets a little sentimental with certain players.
Yeah.
Do you think, because I don't know, I could see Sam Hubbard maybe being one of those guys. Do you think that he's that guy that they do that to? Because I'm with you. I think for the level of production we've gotten the last several years currently from Sam, in good faith, I can't justify 10 and a half, 11 million for that year.
Yeah, that's where I'm at too with it, Anthony. If they do, that's dumb. Like, I'm okay if he wants to come back for a $2 million. If Sam Hubbard wants to come back for $2 million, fine. I honestly hope he just decides to retire, is what I've said, because what a great way to go out. You go out catching a pass from Joe Burrow in your last game as a Bengal, and you go down as a Bengal legend. You already were the Hubbard Yard Dash, whatever you want to call it, the rumble in the jungle, the fumble in the jungle. So for me, I hope he just retires and saves the Bengals that decision. But there's no way I'm paying Sam Hubbard $7.5 million next year.
No, I'm right there with you. Dusty, what are you thinking?
See if Dusty's with us.
Yep,
Yeah.
I'm here, boys. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not paying Sam that. Like, Sam's he's been great. The Ohio kid and all, Cincinnati kid. He's made big plays for us when we needed. The Mahomes play in the AFC Championship game, and then the rumble in the jungle, the Hubbard Yard Dash, and all that. Dude's a good player, but
Oh,
I think we lost him there for a second.
can you hear me?
I know he's having some
I can hear
internet
you.
troubles, but yeah, now he's back. We'll hope for the best with Dusty. He's trying. He's getting frustrated with his internet and his computer.
Yeah, I'm about to throw some shit, but but no, I bring Sam back on a much needed restructured deal, or is his contract's not? He still has 1 year, right?
Yeah, next year,
him and Trey, pretty much are in the final
getting scheduled to
Right.
pay 10.5. Trey ain't going to play on his contract. They got to figure that out.
But
Yeah, I'm restructuring that deal, or Sam can, he can leave. He's been paid. He was overpaid from the beginning, so he should be thankful, I think.
yeah, and I think some of that being overpaid, I do think was. Would you agree with this, Dusty? That I think is some of it is that I think certain players, I think the Browns get sentimental on.
Oh yeah, they have their favorites and stuff. They got people that is like what they want their image to be, I think. And like you said, I think they have the dudes they get sentimental over, and they stick to them, and they're loyal to those people. I think the Brown family's pretty loyal in general to their players, but Sam did.
Oh, sorry.
Well, you hear a lot of people go on the whole cheap end, talking about the Brown family being cheap, which
Well, this is a good question that goes along with that, Anthony, from Overzealous. He says, what happens to all that rollover money that Mike Brown has every year? I think he writes himself a big old fat GM bonus every year. I really do.
if I remember correctly, whatever's left at the end of that year that rolls over into the next year. So basically, whatever's left is still incorporated in with the new available cap space. If I'm not mistaken.
I'm not so sure exactly how it works, so I'd be lying if I said, but I'm not 100% sure that is what happens. I know it's money, whatever, that I think you can use. I don't think they do it. I don't think it goes toward the cap. But I could be wrong. Like I said, I'm certainly not. It's a good question for Andre Parada.
Speaking of that, can you get him on the show?
Well, I've tried, and he talked like maybe he could, and then it didn't work out. That was a couple weeks ago, so I might reach back out and try to get him on again sometime.
Yeah, because he's given some interesting breakdowns, and I'd be curious to see if we can retain T. Because I know everybody's saying T's not going anywhere, but for me, I know until a deal has been announced and pen has been put to paper, it's all speculatory.
Yeah. Now I do think Coach Bob, he talks about we need answers about Rankins. Till I hear otherwise, I'll assume he took the check to set it home and order DoorDash.
Damn.
he basically did steal money, but listen, I do think that he had some kind of illness. Now there's rumors floating out there that maybe he could have played and he just didn't want to come back at the end and stuff.
I know. I know on my podcast.
He was sick in some way, is what I've heard, and that's not my place to disclose anything.
And I'd go on to agree with you on that because we had James Rapine on our podcast, and he didn't go into detail, but he said that there is a legit health issue that was keeping him out.
Yeah, but I mean, I just think that's also an easy cut, because it's like he didn't do anything. He's older. He's already at that age they didn't like giving money to. But, I mean, it's like I don't remember, $2 million dead cap hit, and you save about $10 million against the cap. And it's just a no-brainer to me. I take that and I use it on a better player, somebody younger, more talented. Hell, you could probably get 2 players for that price,
No, you're not wrong. No, you are not wrong.
Darce says
if you don't pay T, where is that money going? Gotta spend 95% of the cap, right? Dart's not wrong. Yeah, there has to be a certain point. There has to be a certain percentage that does get spent. Otherwise, you can be fined for staying under the cap. So, for staying too far under the cap. So,
yeah, which I love that. I love that that's a rule because there is some owners, not going to mention names, Mike Brown, that would stay well under.
I don't know. And again, I'm not trying to be a Mike Brown sympathizer or anything like that.
No,
So
it's
don't
okay.
get it twisted.
It's okay. Go ahead.
I don't know because I know a couple of people that know the family personally, and seems like that's been far from the case from what I've heard. The big thing I think where the hang up is everybody talks about with the guaranteed money and how they choose to structure their contracts. I think that's where the feeling I've gotten, but I could be wrong. So
yeah, Darth's mad at you now. He said, "Damn it, Anthony."
Love you, Darth.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If we're talking Katie and Troy don't get a pass either because we know they're also the ones that are probably running more of the day-to-day now more than Mike, if we're being honest. But I think Mike still gets a final call. He's still very involved. He's a football lifer. I got a lot of respect for that family, but, and it's cool to work with your kids, but I just wish they would bring in more football minds, more scouts, more people that had the decisions when it came to the football aspect of it. What are your thoughts on that, Dusty?
Yeah, I think they need more scouts, man. They need to just be more relevant in that aspect, just like being relevant with the guarantees. And do they spend money? Yes. That's where people will debate, and you'll get people that are homers and say, the Bengals do spend money, blah, 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 but the guarantees aren't quite there in the way that it's structured, and they pay the wrong people. I think at this point, man, I'm just kind of I would like to see them go all in, and they should have went all in a couple years ago when they had Joe and Jamar and T and these dudes on rookie deals. And granted, 2020 and 2021, they did make a pretty good splash in free agency, but at that point, there was never really any big name people they brought in outside of DJ Reader. I think I mean,
Yeah.
Trey Hendrickson wasn't Trey Hendrickson at the time. Trey Hendrickson was a guy that was reaping the benefit of Cam Jordan, or not Cam Jordan.
Well,
Is it Cam?
it is.
It
It's
Yeah,
is
Cam
Cam
Jordan.
Jordan because
Well, people thought that, right? But he was just as good in
yeah,
hindsight.
yeah. In hindsight, which they made a
Yeah.
great, it was great. But remember, there was a shit ton of people that wanted Carl Lawson to stay. And like, hey, we're letting Carl Lawson go, and we're bringing this dude in. Like, there. There's just been multiple times where the Bengals had opportunities, I think, to go all in, and they built a great team with the DJ Reader, the Trey Hendrickson, Cheeto. As much as people hated um, bringing in Eli Apple played great. We got a guy like Trey Flowers. We did add
I didn't kill
additions
him.
that was just it was great for that team. The past couple years we haven't quite seen it to that effect. We haven't seen them hit. Their misses have been even more blatantly obvious. In the Rams went all in and they made it to the playoffs. Like you thought they were going to be in cap hell and all this stuff, but that's my biggest thing is to see them really make a push, have their guys be aggressive in the draft, hit on some players and play those players early. Like I get it with Dax Hill, like you had a guy like Jesse Bates, but you don't sign Jesse. Dax kind of comes in, he's playing all over the place. Have an idea of the people you're drafting. Like if it's best player available, make sure they're on the field. Like that's
And,
what
and
I
the
want to see.
Lions Commanders game has kicked off, so we'll try to keep you updated on that. The Commanders started it off by kicking the ball out of bounds and giving it to the Lions on the 40. So not a great start for the Commanders. You're already the underdog.
Man, I really want to see a Houston and Detroit Super Bowl.
Yeah, it is 3rd and 13 now for the Lions on the 37. So they haven't done anything yet, but we'll see. So we'll just kind of mention some updates of that. I'm sure a lot of you are watching that game as well. So I'm good with either of these teams winning. I hope it's a good game. I hope everybody that's watching gets to watch a good game. That's one thing. There's been a lot of boring ass playoff games, especially last week. The Commanders versus Buccaneers was really the only good game last week. Today's wasn't awful, but it's just the refs, man. What'd you think of the refs today, Dusty? We started off talking about that.
I was waiting to see if I figured that conversation probably already happened. I was wanting to get to it. It's unwatchable. It's so ridiculous, and I'm glad the rest of the league is catching on to what Bengals fans have been talking about. We're not just a bunch of Bengals goobers out here just being like, "Oh, this should be a flag." No, Bengals fans for the majority want to see games called fairly and let the final
Players
score.
decide it.
Yeah, let the players decide it. Whatever the final score is, the final score is. I would rather see calls not be made if it's 50-50 or something. Like don't give the call, but don't do it either way. With Mahomes,
Right.
like you got him literally flopping, going out of bounds to try to draw penalties because he's so programmed and used to getting those calls. Why the hell not?
Yeah, that should start being unsportsmanlike. I agree,
Right.
Andrew. You flop like that, right? I mean, come on, man. They call that in other sports when you flop like that.
Yep.
I don't even think Brady. Like, don't get me wrong. I think we all did our fair share of shitting on Brady, but I'm not even sure that Brady did that when he did it quite like Mahomes does it.
Man, I'm not going to lie. Brady's got a soft spot for me. I got a soft spot for him. Maybe he's got one for me. I don't know, but I always liked Tom. Back when I was a kid, it was fun seeing them games in the snow and seeing Tom Brady out there. Their defenses were all
Cut out on us again. But I will say with Brady, I didn't like him. Michigan guy. I'm an Ohio State guy. No, I hated seeing him win all the time. And toward the end of his career, I just literally couldn't stop giving him his flowers because of how great he was. So he earned my respect tenfold, of just what kind of player he was and how cerebral he is. And I see a lot of that in Joe Burrow, if I'm being honest. Dusty, are you back? And then
I'm back. Yeah, my bad.
You want to finish that
but
thought,
the thing, Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you guys off.
I just think Tom, the sideline presence and the competitor he wasn't athletic. He was a later draft pick. They had Bledsoe, and Drew Bledsoe was the man, and for him to step in and just compete and just turn out the way he did is it's an underdog story, and I like it. I like him, but the Patrick Mahomes, the whole Chiefs thing of like penalty, like just soft penalty. There's penalties that can be called on every play. Other teams will get called against. Like you could look at them and be like, well, they're in the middle of the pack for penalties called against and penalties called for, whatever. But it's the times in which it happens. That's the importance of it. It could be 3rd and 10, and you get a defensive holding or a defensive pass interference, and now they get a first down. Like it's the spots, the times, the clock management when it happens. There's a lot that goes into it, and it's just becoming a little it's just biased. I get the NFL wants to protect their quarterbacks, but you have Joe Burrow getting his face mask
Yeah, I
ripped
said the
90
same thing.
degrees.
Let's rephrase that a little bit. They want to protect certain quarterbacks
Right.
because, like Dale had just said, it comes to Burrow, they'll let him get his fucking damn near fucking get his head ripped off.
Oh yeah.
This, that, and the
Late
other. So,
hits, people landing on him, and if that happens to Mahomes, if it happens to Josh Allen, Lamar, like all these other dudes, and it's not even just good quarterbacks. It could happen like Sam Darnold. I know Sam Darnold got lit up the other day, but
I talked about the same thing, his face mask penalty. Like, and that should be reviewable.
right. If it's that obvious, like, come on, man. In that the big face mask that I think we're talking about here is the Bengals were in scoring range. It might have been like a 3rd and goal when it happened, and
The Ravens 2-point conversion.
or
Wasn't it?
was it a 2-point conversion? I remember it was close to the goal line. And it was either like a 3rd and goal, or maybe it was the
It might have
2-point
been
conversion.
before. It might have been before. I
But
don't
still,
remember.
it's absolutely ridiculous. Like the refs need to be held accountable. Like either fine the refs, suspend them, do something to make this where it's more even.
And instead, Roger comes out and says the officiating's never been better a couple years
well,
ago.
but
It's
that's
like,
also
you're a
that's
clown,
also
man.
because, and I agree with what Andrew just said, that but at the end of the day, Roger Goodell is nothing more than a fucking suit, and just he's a
Yeah.
puppet. That's really all he is.
right.
So it's like at the end of the day, he's gonna go along go along with whatever they think is what the popular thing is to do. Like right now, everybody's all drooling over the Chiefs because you've got Taylor Swift involved, which I'm gonna say this: I've got no personal qualms with Taylor Swift or Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, you
but
don't want to make Greg mad about T Swift.
I don't give a fuck. Fuck Taylor Swift. Fuck her. Fuck Travis Kelce. Fuck. Hell, I remember you. Do you remember when Travis and Jason was here for that live show that they did at UC?
Yeah.
I actually ran into Jason out one day, and Travis was during the days that he was there. Travis was with him. He's went up in it. Shook his hand, just said, "Hey, big fan of yours." Da 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 da. He said, "Hey," he said, "You want to meet my brother?" I said, "Fuck your brother," respectfully. That's all I told him. And Travis was right there and just looked at me shocked, like, "Yeah, I said it. Fuck you."
That's funny.
But,
Yeah. Well, the thing with the face mask, it doesn't even have to be instant replay. They have like New York that's watching, and there's other calls that like, oh, New York buzzed in and said they got the call wrong. If it's such an obvious face mask, all they have to do is buzz down and say there was a face mask penalty.
why does that take? Why does the fact that you said that take me back to Week 1 with Mike Gesicki in the fucking Patriots game? I'm having a little bit of PTSD with that.
Yeah, I know too. Like baseball does it with pitching. Like why can't Why can't we do it in football? And it's not like it's a long thing. Like they're on the headsets. Like, hey, there was a face mask. It was on this dude. Okay, the more eyes out there, the better. You can almost call a penalty on every play. Now, fans just want to watch clean football, safe player safety, and an evenly called game. That's not hard. I just don't think it should be that hard to ask for that. There I seen a hip drop tackle too on it should have been called against Kansas City, and it was like the most textbook example of what the NFL described
Yeah,
as a
it was
hip
on
drop
Dalton
tackle.
Schultz early in that game.
Yeah, and that that's not called. So there's things like that where it's like, oh, could that be tic tac, whatever? And yeah, I guess, but like, make the right call. That would have been the
I
right
guess
call.
I'll give the refs this. You know, they made a big deal about the hip drop tackle. They do not flag that this year. Like they just find people afterwards typically.
The thing I heard with that, and just to add a little bit of extra context with that, because that got brought up when Jamar had that outburst in the Chiefs game, because he thought that, I guess on a previous play, that he thought he had gotten hip drop tackles. Supposedly, the way they do it is what I've read, and I think it Paul Dehner Jr., if I'm not mistaken. If I'm wrong on it, it may be somebody else, but somebody had said that apparently that gets looked at and reviewed in New York. That's not anything that they decide on in game, is my understanding.
Well, they're not looking at it very closely because they're not hardly calling it, but they damn sure like sending out $20,000 fines to these players afterwards.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't think it's right. I'm like, you should.
If it's worthy of a fine, it's worthy of the flag.
I agree. No, I 100% agree. Like hell, if you remember way back when in the James Harrison days, when he was used to put fear into half our roster, that hell, almost any move that man made literally would on certain teams would liable. They'd throw the flag. Because literally he'd clothesline somebody. He'd do literally just about anything you can think of. Yeah, they pick and choose who they want to do that with.
Yeah, we're about an hour in. Anthony, I don't know how much you are up on OSU or Notre Dame, but I want to talk a little OSU Notre Dame national championship matchup. Look at
down.
Position by position. In the chat, we also need you on this one. Give your opinions. I want to just go through and like put a check on who we think has the advantage, you know, at each position group as I go through some of these players. You know, we're not going to be, I am certainly no expert on Notre Dame's roster, but studying the draft, I know a little bit about a lot of these guys. Not that all of them will be in this draft class, but I've got a list for next year too. Project Game Day draft guide, if you want one, on the Twitter. Shows you a link to the Venmo, $5 donation to Project Game Day. I email you a draft guide and we'll send you updates. So keep up on that a lot. But let's start at quarterback. So quarterback, both guys are transfers. Riley Leonard, Will Howard. We'll start with you, Dusty. Who do you give the advantage to as far as quarterbacks for this game? Riley Leonard can run the ball a little more. Will Howard can do that, but he doesn't do it a lot at Ohio State. Did it more at Kansas State. Has had a good playoff run, but Riley Leonard makes clutch plays. So would you give the advantage between Ohio State and Notre Dame when it comes to quarterback?
I would say right now, Will Howard's been pretty hot. And I would go with Will Howard. He's got the receivers. Now, if we're talking like better quarterback play, maybe if you put Leonard with Ohio State, his numbers are inflated more. But I think, I don't know, I'd say it's probably pretty close just from the limited amount of games that I've really watched of Notre Dame. I would say it's probably pretty close.
I think Riley Leonard runs more. But he doesn't have – he's still – like, he doesn't – and I know he doesn't have necessarily the greatest receivers. I do like Jaden Greathouse. He's probably their best. Bo Collins is okay. But they don't have the guys Ohio State has at receiver. So, yeah, you're right about that. Could be a little better. But Leonard doesn't have more than 250 passing yards in any game this season. None. Like, that's crazy to me. I think Will Howard's averaging more than that in the playoffs. So, Anthony, what are your thoughts on these two quarterbacks, and who would you give the advantage? Because I don't want to be too much of a homer here, because I am a Buckeye.
I'm with Dusty. But I got to give if you're looking at sheer quarterback play, I got to give it to Will Howard. Although Riley Leonard, yeah, am I saying it right?
Yes, Riley Leonard.
Even though Riley Leonard's not a bad quarterback, he's got a little bit more of a running edge. Uh, the edge has to go to Leonard. I mean, not Leonard, but Will Howard.
Yeah,
me.
I gotta agree, but I mean, and Texas is really good defense. Like Oregon had a pretty good defense. Tennessee was supposed to have a pretty good defense. You know, it's not like he's just faced bums in these playoffs on the way. And that's not to take. I think Notre Dame has a great defense. Al Golden, who might be our D coordinator, Marcus Freeman, defensive background, linebacker for Ohio State back in the day that went to 2 championships, lost them both, but neither here nor there. I agree. Clean sweep then. All three of us will say Will Howard. And that's not a knock on Riley Leonard. I think he's going to have to make some plays with his legs. Jeremiah Love, who we'll get to next at running back, he's feeling healthier than he's been all playoffs. I think he'll be huge. But for quarterbacks, I'm going OSU. If anybody in the chat disagrees, that's cool. But I'm definitely going at quarterback Will Howard at the advantage. Running backs. This one's a good one. This is a good matchup. Travion Henderson, I really like. If you're talking pro prospects for this year, well, it's a clear advantage to the Buckeyes, but that's not necessarily – it's a caveat to that. The Notre Dame guys aren't draft eligible. So Travion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins, a very good 1-2 punch at running back. I like them both. But Notre Dame, Jeremiah Love might be the top running back next year in all of college football. I've got him very high on my 26 list. And Aeneas Williams is a freshman that is going to do everything Jaden Blue did. I would be shocked if they're not trying to get him the ball on passes. True freshman that's got a lot of juice in the receiving game. So I think it's a damn good matchup. And then Jadarian Price is their like official backup, but Aeneas Williams to me. And so it's a damn good matchup at running back. And I this one could go either way. And Notre Dame does run the ball a lot. I don't know, man. Dusty, your thoughts on the running backs? And this is tough for me, so I'm curious to see what everybody else thinks along with the chat.
Yeah, I think it's probably going to be close. Like I said, I haven't watched a whole lot of Notre Dame, but what I have watched, really the defense has always stood out. Their running back as well. So it could be like, I don't know, maybe that's another, 50-50, but give the edge to the more veteran guys that have been making big plays and when the plays are there to be made. So my coaches used to always say, make the routine play. On every routine play, you can win a game. It seems like Ohio State does that just very consistently, where there's 3 yards to be gained, you pick up 3-5 yards, and then you have Travion with a big burst that can be explosive. So between him and Judkins, I would say I would go Ohio State. Just
quick update on the Lions game. They just punched it in with Jahmyr Gibbs from the 1-yard line. So Lions just took the lead on the Commanders early in the game. Both teams, this was the Lions' second possession. The Commanders drove down the field, but ultimately didn't convert. And Lions got the ball back, drove right down the field, got a touchdown. So Lions up early. Anthony, your thoughts on the running backs for Notre Dame, Ohio State, and who you'd give the advantage to?
I'm with you, Dale. I think it's going to be a toss-up. Because, like you said, Jeremiah Love is definitely going to be a hell of a running back, and I think I'm with you. I could see him being one of the top running backs in next year's draft. But on the other hand, Ohio State's 1-2 punch at running back, pretty good too. So, but I know you can't have it be too evenly matched. So, as much as I know some people in the comments are going to hate me for it, I'm going to go ahead and give the edge to Notre Dame.
Hey, it really is like a coin flip to me, and I guess I'll let the homerism come out. I have to go with the Buckeyes. I just have to give them the slight edge at running back. I love Jeremiah Love. I love Love. I love Love. And Aeneas Williams, I think, will have a very good game and is going to be a very good player for Notre Dame as well. But right now, one game, TreVeyon Henderson come back for his senior year. He's on a mission, and that mission is to try to win this national championship. And he's so explosive. He can, if he gets a crease, he can house it at any time. And whether that's in the pass game and whether that's receiving or pass or rushing. Sorry. And then Quinshon Judkins is an animal too. I mean, he was dominant at Ole Miss, transferred here. Now he's splitting carries. Both guys have a chance to reach 1,000 yards for the season. I think one of them needs 40 and the other one needs like 32. So they are just both right on the door of 1,000-yard seasons for two running backs. That's pretty cool. So I give them the slight edge. Judkins, you know, and they block their ass off. Like both guys block their ass off for each other, for the quarterback, you know, on blitzes. It's special to see. So I'm going to go Ohio State, and that'll give the advantage 2-1. But that is a slight Ohio State lean. So I'm going to write OSU slightly underneath that as who we pick for running back.
Last game, Judkins had a huge block for TreVeyon. And he lit that. I don't know if it was a linebacker or cornerback. I don't remember, but it was kind of like a jet sweep in. Judkins just lit that dude up. It was a thing of beauty.
And T. Brookie with a good point. You have to have a good running back now. The playoffs are kind of showing that. Penn State, who almost made this game, had two, and they're both going back to school. And I like both of them too. And Nicholas Singleton and Katron Allen. They're honestly, if it was them versus Ohio State, I would actually lean Penn State. Those two running backs are going to be great, but they both went back to Penn State another year, and I think that's really cool. Both those guys could end up next year as 1 and 2. They're same recruiting class. They've always kind of split carries their entire careers. They're going to finish out their careers together, and they could be 1 and 2 overall on Penn State's all-time leading rusher list. They've had some good running backs too. Like that's cool, I thought, but they're not in this game because Notre Dame beat them. So we went OSU slightly on the running backs. We'll move on to receiver. To me, this one just doesn't take long because there's a freak show named Jeremiah Smith, true freshman. Yeah, he was limited last week. He was almost a decoy. And then you got Emeka Egbuka, who's going to be a first-round pick. And then you got Carnell Tate, who led them in receiving with 87 yards because – he's a first-round caliber wide receiver, you know, and he won't be in this draft, but maybe the next one. And then even Brandon Ennis, who has done some gadget plays and is a return man for them. And then on the Notre Dame side, you got Jaden Greathouse, who had an explosive play, man. He put two Penn State guys on their ass. One that pretty much helped them win that game. One guy off the line, and then Jalen Reed, the safety in open space. Put them both on their ass on that play. He's a very talented guy. He's on the watch list for 26. Bo Collins, I think, is a draftable player potentially, but he's going to be a 6th, 7th round guy. He's a transfer from Clemson. Good, not great. Jordan Faison is their slot receiver. Don't know a lot about him, just be honest. But to me, this one's not even close. I'm going Ohio State, and then I'll kick it to you, Dusty, and up to you, Anthony.
Yeah, Ohio State.
This is easy to me. Anthony, you still with us?
Yeah, I'm still with you. I wasn't sure if it was me yet.
Yeah,
no,
I'm short and sweet on that one.
I'm with you hands down. It's receivers. It's going to be Ohio State.
Yeah, I mean, so far we're 3 for 3 on Ohio State. Anthony, we both agreed the running back was a little more of a toss up, and Riley Leonard can make plays, so this isn't even shitting on him at all. But this one's also easy for me, but it's actually in Notre Dame's favor. So tight end matchup, G. Scott Jr. They got a couple other guys, but most of them are mainly blockers. And then Odell Thurman's son, Jelani Thurman. He doesn't really play a lot for Ohio State, but he is someone to keep an eye on in the future. But for me, it's Mitchell Evans. Tore his ACL last year, but he was a stud before that. He's been a little slow coming back, but now throughout this season. But in the playoffs, he's kind of their go-to guy. He's that guy that they get the ball to and makes big plays for them, converts third downs. So, to me, it's a clear advantage, Mitchell Evans. I think he is, at worst, probably an early day 3 guy in the draft this year. So, tight end, I'm going Notre Dame. How do you guys feel on that one?
Yeah, I'll
Dusty?
go with Notre Dame. I don't really. I don't know. I'll go with Notre Dame. Just the jinx nature of me to like do a clean sweep. And if it stands out to you, we can go with Notre Dame.
I'm kind of the same way. I think it's Notre Dame. That's where the edge lies. As much as yeah, as much as
As they
Ohio
are.
State does. Yeah, as much as Ohio State has some good favor in the number of position groups. Yeah, that particular position group, I got to give it to Notre Dame.
Yeah, I just think that's a better. I mean, you just literally like who are you going to draft in this upcoming draft? Both guys will be in it. Mitchell Evans or G. Scott Jr. I'm taking Mitchell Evans 10 out of 10 times. I don't even know if G. Scott will be drafted. And that's no knock on him. He converted from wide receiver. He's had some good plays in the playoffs. Ohio State doesn't convert that fourth down in their last game. If he doesn't fight and get an extra 4 or 5 yards on that one play that set up a 4th and short instead of like a 4th and 7 or 8. So, it's not a hate on him. It's just Mitchell Evans is a better player, better prospect. Definitely got to give the advantage to Notre Dame tight end. O-line is interesting because you got 2 dinged up units. Both have injuries. Both have left tackles that are now out that started. Ohio State's happened a little earlier, though. They've rotated a lot of their guards. Donovan Jackson, who is left guard that I think the Bengals should be interested in, has been playing left tackle. And in the playoffs, he has hit his stride and looked very good at left tackle. Luke Montgomery, who didn't really start all season, has been starting and played almost the whole game at left guard for them. So he's a younger guy that's coming on. Center, Carson Hinsman. They had another injury with Seth McLaughlin. I would feel a lot better about picking Ohio State if they had Josh Simmons and Seth McLaughlin still, but they don't. Austin Saraveld's rotated in at both tackle spots with Tegra Shabola at right guard and then also Luke Montgomery at left a little bit. And then Josh Fryers, honestly, maybe he gets drafted, maybe he's an undrafted free agent. He's a little bit of a weakness, and he's got an injury at right tackle, so he's kind of battling through. And they really, if he can't go or he goes out, they're in a world of shit at right tackle because they don't have a lot of depth left because they've dealt with other injuries and moved guys around. For Notre Dame, it looks like a guy who they thought was going to be left tackle to start the year. He's a redshirt freshman, Charles Ugashaw. I'm probably pronouncing that name wrong. And then Tosh Baker's a graduate player, but both of those guys will only be playing left tackle because the starter got hurt in last week's game. He is out. But I do think that the Ugashaw kid, he had to come in at right guard because the right guard, Rocco Spindler, got hurt last week, but he is healthy and good to go. And then let's see, who else they got? Billy Schloth. I don't even know how you say that name for left guard, but he's been their starter. Center, Pat Coogan. And their right tackle's been there all year, Mil Wagner. So they're a solid team, but they are dealing with some injuries, some guys that are banged up. Really, both teams are. This is another coin flip to me. So I'll let you start this one, Anthony, because you're our O-line guy. I don't know how much you know about either of these 2 teams specifically on the O-line, but any thoughts on?
I don't know I don't know as far as their roster from backwards to forwards. I do agree with you because the games I have had the privilege of watching, both their lines are rather boogered up. I think if you're going full on starters, if you're ranking their starters, I got to give the edge to Ohio State for me. But I'm gonna say, as far as how they end up winning, as far as who has the true edge, it's going to depend on how their depth plays. But if it's the way I think it'll end up going, it will be Ohio State having the edge.
Dusty?
Yep, I'm going to go with Ohio State. Mainly just because I trust our running backs and our receivers. I think Will Howard, if he's able to get the ball out quick and maybe establish a run game, that's going to help the offensive line play. So as Ohio State homer, I'll go with Ohio State there because I think the play calling could be used to their advantage. Not that Notre Dame's not well coached, but I think they got a little more defensive minds over there. So
And a lot of these guys for Notre Dame, for me, are guys that I'm looking at for next year's draft. So I guess that's the only difference. And I'll say mainly Donovan Jackson, how well he's played at left tackle, and the fact that these guys have at least been able to play together in their positions through the playoff run for Ohio State, where Notre Dame will have a new left tackle. I do think they do a great job developing talent. They always have a great O-line at Notre Dame. So it's not a knock on them, but I'm also going to go Ohio State just for continuity. I think that's a big thing, right, for O-line play. So I'm going to go Ohio State, but I'm going to put another slightly on that one. We'll move on to D-line. You got Captain Jack Sawyer, JTT, Tyleik Williams, Ty. Oh, shit. What's Ty's name? I wrote down the wrong name here because the damn sure ain't Williams. This guy's in the draft guide. Now, Ty Hamilton. Not their other D tackle starter. And then you got backups like Caden McDonald, because you rotate your D linemen a lot. So that's why there's more players listed here. Hero Canoe, Kenyatta Jackson, Caden Curry. I mean, that's a lot of guys that could come in, give you quality snaps. Caden McDonald's a dog on the goal line at a defensive tackle, a much bigger guy. Tyleik's great in the run game. Sawyer and JTT have kind of, really shown out in these playoffs. So they're balling out. The Kenyatta Jackson and Caden Curry, who back those two up at edge, are pretty impressive too. On the Notre Dame side, it's tough. Like R.J. Obens transfer from Duke that they have. Howard Cross III, he's an NFL player. He's undersized, only like 280 at D tackle, but he's an absolute stud, and he's finally healthy. Gabriel Rubio, Donovan Heinisch, Armel something that I don't know, and Bryce Young. So to me, this one is also pretty clear, but it's not to knock Notre Dame. I think they've got good players. I think they've got a good D-line. I think they've got a good overall defense as we've switched to the defense. But Ohio State's defense and their defensive line have been playing at another level. The defense has been so good because of their defensive line. So I have to go Ohio State pretty easily here on the defensive line. And I will say this for Notre Dame. Their best pass rusher at D tackle, Riley Mills, got hurt in the first game of the playoffs. So if he was playing, if he was healthy, this would be a hell of a lot closer for me. But with him being out, I got to give it to Ohio State because they've been healthier on that side of the ball too.
yeah, I'm gonna go with Ohio State. They got a lot of real talented dudes. If you look at the draft, they probably have 3 guys that are going to be drafted in the top 100 picks, if not top 75.
And then Hamilton's getting some love too. I don't know that he's a top 100 guy, but he should be drafted on day 3, the other starter.
So yeah, you're looking at some high caliber players, I think. Especially a guy like Jack Sawyer playing with a chip on his shoulder after losing that Michigan game. He's kind of upped his game to a level that maybe we expected, but I would like to see him really submit his legacy in that role that he's kind of developed there, and keep playing good. I'm going to Ohio State.
I'm with you. It's going to be a clean sweep, so I'm going Ohio State simply out of the fact that Notre Dame's best pass rusher, like Dale said, is pretty much out, has been out. So otherwise, it would be a lot closer for me.
And then linebacker, I love what Cody Simon's done. He's played great in his final year. I think he's a potential, 4th round draft pick. Maybe somebody even takes him in the 3rd. It wouldn't surprise me. Sonny Styles, all the talent in the world, great athlete, but he gets burned a little too much for my liking as far as in the pass game. And I think they'll take advantage of that with Aeneas Williams, that running back we talked about. That's a freshman. And then they have Arvell Reese and C.J. Hicks, who kind of come in at times, but they haven't been getting a lot of snaps here in the playoffs. And then for Notre Dame, though, it's just I really like their linebackers. Joshua Burnham, Jack Kaiser, who's a 6-year guy. He's always rotated. He's played a lot of football, a hell of a lot of football. This year, he's finally like the full-time guy getting a ton of snaps. He's very good. He's comparable to Cody Simon. They're not far off as far as draft-wise. And then they got young guys, I think, that are very high on my list for linebacker for the future, for next year's draft, honestly. Drake Bowen and Jalen Sneed. I think both those guys are very good. And also Jaden Osbury. So it's just like they're pretty stacked at linebacker, and I think that's a big strength of their team, along with what they have in the secondary. So for me, this is where Notre Dame gets an edge, but I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts on the linebackers.
Yeah, I'll go with Notre Dame. Simon's been playing some good ball though. But Notre Dame's defense is what they're ranked number 5 in the nation, and their defensive. They got good coaches over there too. So, I'll go with Notre Dame. I think our defensive line helps our linebackers quite a bit.
Yeah, I'm going Notre Dame too. Yeah, just I want to see the future, potential future defensive coordinator get a national championship ring.
Fuck you!
Love you, Dale.
I just hope he don't give up 40 and then get hired right after. That's like, it's like, I want Ohio State to win, but it's like, man, if it's like 40-0, that's not a good look for my guy Al Golden.
But, bro, it's like when you're playing fantasy football and you're in the playoffs and you have like, let's say 2-3 leagues going, and you're playing against guys that are on your team and you need them to perform well, but you don't want to perform too good because then they can beat you in a different league. That's kind of what this feels like. It feels like, man, I want to see Al Golden do good, but I don't want to see him do good enough to beat Ohio State either.
I agree. We'll move on to corner. This is a lot of good NFL talent at corner on both sides of the ball. Denzel Burke, up and down at times, was a little injured, should be playing though. Davison Igbinosun has like 14 fucking penalties this year. It's absolutely ridiculous, but he's also one of the best. I seen something earlier. It's like he's one of the top guys too when it comes to, I don't even remember what it was, but something really good for cornerback play. Jermaine Matthews, who's had to play, and come in for Burke. I think he's a guy. He's very high on my list for next year at cornerback for that draft. He's not draft eligible yet. And Jordan Hancock is super underrated. He's kind of a cornerback / safety. They move him around a lot. So I really like Ohio State's corners, and they've played really well. But they also have had games this year where the first game against Oregon, that was just brutal, especially against Burke. And then you look at the corners for Notre Dame, and if Morrison was playing, Benjamin Morrison, who got hurt, I would give a pretty easy advantage to them just because of him, even, number one. He's a first-round talent all day long, but he's got a hip injury, so it makes his draft stock a little cloudy. Hell, he could go back to Notre Dame potentially. Leonard Moore, the freshman, has been outstanding for them. Literally outstanding. The kid is so good. And then Christian Gray is another guy I've got for next year in the draft. Those are two young guys, but they're good too. Christian Gray's been a little more up and down through the season, but he did have that big pick at the end of the game, and he's probably riding a lot of confidence right now. And confidence is very important for corners. And they got like Jordan Clark, Rod Hurd, Tay Johnson, some other guys, they're in their secondary that could rotate in or for depth. I got to go Ohio State just for the sheer top 4. And that's Leonard Moore. I think if I had to say who's the best player in cornerback, it's Leonard Moore in this game at corner. He is the most talented guy, but he's a freshman. But that doesn't even matter. He's that damn good. So he's going to make some plays, and this is the reason that they might try to go some single coverage. And Christian Gray isn't bad either. If they have Benjamin Morrison, I would totally go Notre Dame, but they don't. So I'm going with Burke, Igbinosun, and Hancock, who have a ton of experience, and Jermaine Matthews, who's played a lot of football too at Ohio State the past 2 years. So I'm going Ohio State at corner, but that's another slightly one because Notre Dame is so talented.
I'll go with Notre Dame on this just because I was watching. I was watching Benjamin Morrison the other day, some of his tape, and I know he's not playing, but they play a lot of man coverage. So they've in their defensive played some good ball. It could, I don't know. I don't know. I guess I don't know enough about Notre Dame other than the statistical aspect I've looked at, in knowing that they play a lot of man, they trust their corners, and they're playing with confidence. So that, like you said a little bit ago, that can make a world of difference in a player, but especially corners when they're playing with some confidence. And that's all I got for that.
What do you think, Anthony?
I'm pretty much with you, Dale. I got to give it to Ohio State just for the fact that they got four of the best corners in college football, and so that's where I got it. That's where I have to give it.
Yeah, like I said, if Morrison was playing, I would 100% go Notre Dame. The two injuries, and listen, they still have a great defense, great defensive coaches, so they're still doing very well. This is definitely not knocking them. It's just having that injury, like, that'd be like if one of the Ohio State guys was injured, there's still a little more depth, but at the same point in time, it makes a huge difference. And, especially Morrison, because he would be number one on this list, and then Moore would be my second cornerback on this list, as far as the top two talents. So it'd easily go to Notre Dame. But with Morrison out, I've got to go Buckeyes. But that one is very, very close. Safeties, man, I don't even know. Ben Tucky says, if you say Downs over Watts. Now, listen, it's not a 1 versus 1 thing. That's the difference here, Ben, because I love Watts. I love Downs. But Lathan Ransom is so good. He has knocked out damn near 3 players. He's knocked out a player every game. He knocked out the Tennessee running back. He knocked out the Oregon running back, made them both tap out and leave the game. And then he knocked the shit out of old Manning boy there when he ran the ball. And he was close to fumbling. He was out. He was out. But it makes me worry, okay, does he get a targeting or something? Because he hits the shit out of these guys. It's usually clean, but there's some of them you could say, okay, maybe he went to the head. I get it, and you never know. So that's something to monitor. And then Notre Dame, man, Xavier Watts and Adon Schuler, they're both very good. Xavier Watts is very good. And he's 35th overall on my board for this draft year. But Caleb Downs will also be a first-round pick next year. Lathan Ransom is a 3rd, 4th round guy for me this year. Schuler might be a day 2 guy next year. I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm willing to listen to you, Dusty, and you, Anthony, on this one. And Ben, state your case for Watts and Schuler, because you got to go both safeties here. It's not just Watts. But I like Caleb Downs, too.
Yeah, we actually talked about Ransom the other day. And he was kind of a standout guy that we was talking about. I don't think we're on a show, but we're talking on the phone about it. Watts that dude's pretty special. I was watching some film on him.
Ball hawk, man.
And,
ball hawk.
Yeah, and I was really liking what I was seeing out of that kid. But Caleb Downs, Ohio State, their defense in general has just been up in their game. I feel like they're playing pretty hot right now. But flip a coin. I would say it's pretty dang close. But the homer in me, I'll toss it to Ohio State. Caleb Downs got that kid.
He's an All-American for his first 2 years in college football. Not even draft eligible.
So with that, looking at it, I'll go Ohio State. But I think it's close. And
but who the other All-American is this year? Xavier Watts. That's what I'm saying. You've got the 2 All-American safeties in this game. That is crazy.
But Watts is, he's a year older, so he's not a senior, is he? I know he's shot. He's going. Yeah, I know
he's definitely going to the draft. I don't know if he's a junior or senior, but he's going to be drafted very, very high. But so will Downs, so will Ransom.
Exactly.
I think Schuler will be too. I like him too. Anthony,
I'm with Dusty. I'm going to Ohio State.
Well, see, now I don't have to pick. It was so tough, Ben. You can't be mad at me that Ohio State was picked. It's 2 against 1. I would also pick Ohio State.
And I'm not even an Ohio State fan.
Yeah. So if you just look at all that on paper, so we went quarterback Ohio State, running back Ohio State slightly. Both got good running games. Wide receiver, Ohio State. Tight end, Notre Dame. O-line, Ohio State slightly. Both have a lot of injuries. We'll see. Both have some talented guys. I think Notre Dame probably honestly has the more talented O-line, but I think they're still like a year away from really being as good as they will be. D-line, OSU, because the Riley Mills injury is a big part of that. Linebacker, Notre Dame. I think a clear advantage at linebacker, even though I love Cody Simon. Cornerback, OSU slightly, mainly, once again, injury to Benjamin Morrison. If Benjamin Morrison was playing, that would be Notre Dame. But I got to give it slightly to Ohio State because they got 4 guys that are going to be top 100 picks probably whenever they come out. Burke will be this year. Hancock will be this year. Igbinosun has a draft decision to make and needs to stop getting penalties. And Jermaine Matthews could be a first-round pick next year. And then safety, man, it's just loaded with talent. So, honestly, flip a coin. We win Ohio State, but damn, both got good safety. So, hell of a defensive matchup. I give the advantage to Ohio State on offense, but we haven't talked special teams. That's not really on this list. But I give a clear – this is where Notre Dame – this is why it's not like you say, well, there's a lot more OSU on here. Special teams advantage is Notre Dame. They block a lot of kicks. They return kicks. They return punts. Notre Dame has a clear advantage when it comes to special teams, in my opinion. Their kicker's pretty good. I don't trust Jaden Fielding for Ohio State. And then coaching, Marcus Freeman, Ryan Day. I've seen Ryan Day shrivel up against Michigan, and I'm afraid he's going to try to establish the run and try to run up the middle, and that doesn't work. It just doesn't. You got to get on the outside if you're going to run. Plus, you got the horses at wide receiver. You need to throw the ball. So coaching's toss-up, but I'd probably lean Marcus Freeman just because of Ryan Day, but Ryan Day could change all that in the game. But, yeah, Ben, no, I agree. I would probably put him over that. Pat Coogan is draft eligible, Travis, but I think he goes back another year because he's got another year of eligibility. He wasn't even scheduled to be their starter at center, but I do like him, and I think he's a pretty good player, and he's definitely on the list for next year. But the special teams is what really could keep Notre Dame right in this game / win it. Great defense, great special teams. And if they can get the running backs going, I think they got a good shot. We're going to talk more about the game on Monday on our show, but I'll let you guys give score predictions with everything we've talked about in mind. So, Dusty, I'll start with you Buckeye homer.
Okay, so what I think right now it's Ohio State's favored by 10, right?
It's something stupid, yeah. But, I mean, they have covered these, but that Texas game was, we all know, could have been tied just as easily. And Jack Sawyer fumble return, they won by 14.
Yeah, I'm going to go let's do 24. We'll do Ohio State 24, Notre Dame 17.
Yeah, you're not far off from where my prediction will probably be on Monday. But go ahead, Anthony.
I'm going to say 30-20. I'm going to say 30-24, Ohio State.
See, I could see a defensive slugfest, and this would be a little more grinded out, but a special teams touchdown, a punt block, and that easily gets that score up. So
it did for Ted Ginn Jr.
Yeah, and if anybody in the chat wants to toss the score prediction for Ohio State Notre Dame, we'll pop those up as well. I see one here already from our buddy Andrew. He says Ohio State 35, Notre Dame 14.
I don't think it'll be that high.
It has potential to get that, though, if Ohio State gets out to a hot start like they did against Tennessee and Oregon. But if Ryan Day is trying to establish that run game up the middle, this, that, and the other, and Notre Dame can get a special teams play, I think it's a slugfest like the Texas game was. I'm leaning more toward the slugfest personally, but I can understand why it could be a 35-14 game, too. Yeah, and M says if it's a close game in the fourth, Notre Dame's winning. Potentially, yeah. A close game in the fourth with Notre Dame and their coaching and their special teams, yeah, I would lean that way if it's a field goal type game for sure. Washington just scored. An update on that game. Thank you, Ben. So after a Detroit fumble, Washington was able to drive down the field. Just got a touchdown up the middle. Brian Robinson, 2 yards, touchdown. My guy Sam Cosme, though, it says, was injured during the play. Love me some Sam Cosme. Should have been
We
picked over
know
Jackson
Chop's
Carman.
watching it right now. He just said, "Go
He is.
Commanders."
Yeah, I told Chop to get on here, and he's like, I'm watching the Commanders game. I'm like, you can do both.
Yeah, Papa Chop, get your ass on here.
He don't even love you like that.
I know he don't.
24-17 sounds like a Notre Dame win. We had as a comment here from M. Darth says 31-17 OSU. Yeah, if we don't blow them out, I think Notre Dame's winning. We got a Notre Dame 20, OSU 17. So the Boise State fan, David, because he's a Boise guy. He's going Notre Dame over OSU. 2017 is a score I could see. And if it comes down to a field goal, I could see Notre Dame winning on a field goal. I could. UC fans cheering against the Buckeyes is kind of lame, though. It is what it is. Everybody's got their like. I'm going to cheer that like hell against the Chiefs in the playoffs. So it's fine. And honestly, Cincinnati, there's a lot of big Catholic schools in football and stuff. And a lot of good Cincinnati talent ends up going to Notre Dame. So it's actually Notre Dame makes sense for a lot of Cincinnati area to cheer for anyways. Ben says Notre Dame 20, Ohio State 14. That's a score I can see. And David says banking on Al Golden. Yeah. I think on talent on the football field, on offense and defense, I lean Ohio State. Special teams, though, Notre Dame. And I hope Ryan Day wins just because he gets too much hate. He really does. I feel bad for the man in a way, but I've seen him shrivel in the biggest moments and have some really bad game plans. So it does worry me that he'll try to we're going to establish the ground game. We're going to run up the middle. We're going to out-tough them. Bro, do what you did against Tennessee and Oregon. Come out throwing the ball, come out firing, and you'll win this game. Don't outthink it here. Let your players be the players they are.
You ain't giving your prediction? You giving that Monday?
Yeah, I'm going to get mine Monday.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Holding us. Yeah, teaser Dale. Which now we have to all tune in to see how close I was.
All right, now, matter of fact, I got one. When do you think they announced the new defensive coordinator? I think it'll be either Monday or in the several days past the national championship.
Do you think that's because you think it's going to be Al Golden or a college football coach?
Like me and Dale were saying earlier, me and Dale both agree that we're fine with either one. But every article I've read from the Athletic, the CBS Sports, ESPN, all are pointing towards Golden. So I think it'll be. Could I see it being the day of the national championship? Possibly, but I think it'll be somewhere in the days to follow.
Yeah, if it's Al Golden, I don't think they're going to break that news the day of the national championship game. So I don't think they would do that.
I don't either, and I think they're gonna I think he's gonna come in and interview because I think they still have to work out the money. You know, I do. I don't think that's worked out by any means.
Let's say Golden does get the position. Who do you think he'll bring in on as a D-line coach, and do you think he will bring somebody in for D-line and kind of rework that? And I think we fired our linebacker coach too, right? So yeah. So
it'll be interesting to me, Dusty, because I think Al Washington is certainly a name for D-line or linebacker, honestly, because he's coached both. I think with Ohio State, he might have coached linebackers, and now he's at Notre Dame coaching their D-line. And then I think he was at Michigan coaching as well at some point. So Al Washington is a young and up-and-coming guy that I could see getting either of those jobs, but I think it will depend for Al Washington especially if Notre Dame wants to elevate him to defense coordinator. Because if Notre Dame's going to elevate him to defense coordinator, he's going to take that job over a D-line or linebacker coach, I imagine. I mean,
but he never had any stint for the NFL? I don't. I
Not,
guess I
not
I
that I'm
don't
aware
recognize
of.
this name. Yeah.
Not,
So I mean, that's a step right there. You know, if he comes in and does
I
does good,
agree,
you
but
know,
he's
he
never
could.
been a D coordinator. If Notre Dame wants to elevate him, but I could see Notre Dame also going out and poaching somebody who's already a D coordinator. What's up, Anthony?
Not much.
We get to see Anthony's beautiful face. Look at him.
Yeah.
That beard's got to keep you warm for next week, man. It's gonna be getting cold.
Yeah, but I'm gonna try to get it trimmed. At least try to get a beard trimmed down. Yeah, usually my cousin is the one that cuts my hair for me. So
Yeah, and I've heard a lot of this too. Al Golden still lives in Cincy.
well, Mike Zimmer still has a spot over I think I want to say northern Kentucky somewhere. Yeah, he's got a farm out there. So
How do you guys feel about a guy like Marvin Lewis? This is something that's been talked about a lot for multiple years, but Marvin coming in and doing like helping out almost like a player personnel role with like Duke.
um, me,
I personally would like that a lot.
yeah, because Duke needs all the help he can get because there's picks that Duke's made that I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But there's been a lot that's left me scratching my damn head.
I think this
Exactly.
is a better question for Ben than it is me, Travis, because he's a Notre Dame fan. So I know he used to run a 3-4. I'm not sure what Notre Dame runs right now, if they run a 3-4 or a 4-3. So Ben, if you could answer that or anybody else, I'd really appreciate it. Because I was wondering that myself earlier in the week and I never got to like looking it up. So that's on me. But does Golden leave pass rush to the D line, or does he do a lot of exotic rushes, blitzes? Those are questions, Ben. If you could answer that in the chat, and I'll pop them up. Good question, though, Travis, for sure. Then we got a super chat here from our guy Fuzzy Balls. Fuzzy Balls. He says Kenneth Grant, D tackle, Michigan, would make a bigger impact than any of the players still available at our spot in the first round. He would transform our defense. And his ceiling, and I've compared it to this, and it's crazy to say, but his ceiling is sexy Dexter Lawrence. Both guys are 340, around 6'3", 6'4". Not saying he'll ever reach that ceiling, but gosh damn, he's got some pass rush juice, and he's a hell of a run defender. I like me some Kenneth Grant, Fuzzy, so I'm with you. What are you guys' thoughts on Kenneth Grant?
Man, you think he'll go that high, 17th overall?
I think I've got him ranked right around there in my overall board, maybe even a little higher.
Who's the other kid? Who's the other kid that everybody's got going in the top 5?
Mason Graham. Mason Graham's that dude.
Yeah, he's awesome.
I was gonna say it's possible, but I also would not be surprised if a couple of people that were projected to be in the top 5, if one or two maybe slip down further. I don't know if they'll go outside of the top 10, but they'll.
Yeah,
slip down.
I think Graham ends up top 10, but I think he's a prime candidate to slip out of the top 5, Anthony, like you're talking about, because I think there'll be 2 quarterbacks: Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter, and then it just takes one. Oh, Tet McMillan, the wide receiver from Arizona. Those 5 could go top 5.
Here's what I'm wondering, because especially now, and I'm gonna throw this out there because I want to get both you guys' takes. Who do you think gets the Dallas job?
It was Travis.
Who do you think gets the Dallas job? Because now they're talking like they're supposedly Jerry Jones is interested in Dion. And
Dusty, as you answer that, I want to update again for anybody maybe that's not watching but tuning in. Lions just scored a 2-yard pass to Sam Laporta. What a great pick that ended up being. I wasn't as high on Laporta as Michael Mayer. I'm looking like a dumbass for that one. So you got to admit when you're wrong too. I like Laporta, but I had Mayer over him. So as of now, that looks like a bad take. But go ahead, Dusty, on the Cowboys job. And Dion, yeah, is an interesting. I heard something that he would take it if he's offered it, but I don't know if I'd offer it.
Was Laporta, was he hurt? Was he the one that was hurt, or was it Dalton Kincaid that
Kincaid had a lot of injuries that went to the
Yeah,
Bengals.
yeah. I think he had boogered his back up.
Yep, he had issues with the back, and it was a little concerning, but he still went very high. The Bengals were high on him, but he went higher than their pick even.
Yep, I couldn't remember which one that was because I know during that year there was a lot of people that was high on
Yeah, the
some tight
Green
ends.
Bay tight ends, both of those guys, I like both of them. Second, third round, they got two guys I like. So
The one kid was from Michigan, right?
I don't remember.
What the hell? I can't remember that kid's name. I swore he was a Michigan tight end, but I don't know. Do I think Prime will go and coach the Cowboys? That was the question, right?
Yeah, and then the rumor that I keep that's kind of floating around is that if he goes, he wants the if he goes, he wants the Cowboys to try to get away to get from 17.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
want
that's
to
it.
trade.
Yeah, they want to get up to like the top 5 to try to secure Shador.
Yeah, I think Prime
that'd be
would
a
be.
reach myself, but
Well, and then
I
they got to trade Dak, who they just gave a contract to. And
I think Dak. I was watching a YouTube video today that they were saying they don't think that'll happen because
so they traded Dak to Cleveland and something else, a future first, Dak and a future first to Cleveland for the pick 2. So then they can get Shador, the Cowboys, and Dion. That just seems like a bad way to do NFL business.
Well, but here comes the thing. Dak. Here comes the kicker though. One of the videos I watched today said that Dak has in his new contract another no trade clause. So
Interesting.
What's Dak's? How long does he have left on that contract?
Right? 5
yeah,
years or something.
yeah. I want to say it's 5 years, but I'm pulling it up.
Yeah, we'll make sure to find that out. In the meantime, while you're looking that up about the Cowboys, we'll continue to talk about that and a lot of other things, as long as you guys got time to do it.
Oh, I got time, brother.
All right. So M asked about what about the edge for Marshall? He's a stud. Mike Green.
Oh, I was talking about that dude, baby.
Yeah, he is. He is a stud. There's literally the only question is the dismissal from Virginia.
I found it. It's he's on contract to 2028.
Ooh.
With a void year for 2029, so he'd be 35, 36.
A lot of money
so
too.
His base salary, the breakdown they got is base first year of the contract 47.7, then 40 million 2026, 45 2027, and 55 in 2028. And all
I guess with all that in mind, I can't see if Dion wants to coach, and the caveat is he has to have his son. I can't see Dion then.
I don't know that I see it myself either. That's kind of my thing. I don't know that I see it. He's better off staying in Colorado for now. Plus, on top of that,
who will they sign after that, though, Anthony? I have no damn clue. Jerry Jones who the hell knows what Jerry Jones will do? Is my only opinion on it.
And here's the kicker though. Like everybody talks about us being so dysfunctional and this, that, and the other, but it's like you got teams like the Cowboys where I'm gonna be completely honest. I think Jerry Jones is fucking batshit crazy. And
if you watch the show Landman, he did very good acting on that show.
Who, Jerry Jones?
Yeah.
I never saw that movie.
It's a TV show from the same people that created Yellowstone. And it's pretty good. It's got Billy Bob Thornton. It's got Demi Moore. It's got John Hamm. It's a good show. I really enjoyed it. Me and Marissa just finished up the first season.
I'm gonna have to watch it now, just for the fact that you said it.
Yeah, it's like episode 8 or 9, and Jerry Jones comes in to visit this guy in the hospital, and because it's like maybe it's just a real Jerry Jones, but it's talking about working with his kids, and because it's a show about like the like oil and shit in Texas.
Oh yeah, that wouldn't surprise me because that's mostly how he got his money. So
Well, it is,
was
and
all-
Jerry Jones appears as Jerry Jones. Like he's not, but
hello, my name is Jerry Jones,
well, my wife started crying from his talking. She was crying like from what he said on there. That's all I'm gonna say. There's clips out there too on Twitter.
What
I
did he
seen them before I
say?
watched the show.
Spoiler.
What did he
spoiler.
say?
I can't spoil it, bro.
All right.
I just saw a comment I was wanting to read here. Where did it go?
We got a lot of
Andrew,
draft talk, so we got to get into some draft talk. I love that. But yeah, Musgrave and Kraft was the 2 tight ends for the Packers.
Andrew Woods, this is the one I was talking about. He said he would take Tyler Warren at 17 if we fill holes in free agency. Man, Tyler Warren is a dude.
Dude,
Well, here comes the.
we'll let Dusty go, Anthony, and then you.
All right, that's cool. No, that's cool.
Let's just see, let's say we take somebody like Tyler Warren and we resign T. We get a dude like Williams from Ohio State at D tackle in the second. Let's just say that works out. That right there, I think that'd be a pretty 1-2 in third round pick is still pretty open. I wouldn't be mad about it. It just depends on that second round pick who kind of falls and who we could get. I would definitely be looking at defensive tackle. Who's that kid? We talked about him forever ago. I think he plays for Kentucky.
Deion Walker, yeah.
Walker.
And
if
real
he possibly
quick,
fell in the second.
I was gonna say real quick update. Washington ended up taking the lead.
Same. I had that. It was a 59-yard pass. I don't know if it's a short pass. He ran a deep pass. I'm not watching, but I've got the ESPN thing here, so I can give you guys.
Yeah, same here. Same here.
17-14, Washington. So man, they are battling their ass off. And Jaden Daniels to Terry McLaurin from the Ohio State University.
Scary Terry.
Now what? Now has there been and I don't mean to cut you off, Dusty. Yeah, I just thought of this. Has there ever been a case where you had a first year rookie make the Super Bowl in the NFL? I think it's been done in basketball. I'm not sure it's been done in the NFL.
Good question. I would think so, but good question. Maybe not.
If anybody in the comments can answer that question, please put that in there. That way, it just dawned on me. I just wanted to see for myself.
Did Roethlisberger go his first year with like a?
No, it was his second year because 04 he got dog walked by Brady and the Patriots.
Well, I was just trying to think of players, and that was one that popped in my head. I know he was young.
And that was when Corey was had first joined the Patriots.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. I want to get to this because Fuzzy Balls.
Fuzzy Balls
with this another super chat. Thank you, brother. It's important that our defense can stop the run and will reduce those 7-8 minute drives, give our offense more possessions. We miss DJ Reader for sure. And this goes back to like a guy like Kenneth Grant because I think he can give you some pass rush and stop the run. I think Chris Jenkins will be better as a run stopper. I think McKinley Jackson showed a little more pass rush juice, but he's a big, thick bowling ball type little dude that I think can stop the run. So, and a new D coordinator, if he can get these guys firing on all cylinders, yeah, it starts with run defense. So I think it's a great point. My guy, Fuzzy Balls.
I agree with that. But the thing is, too, if we can use free agency we're looking at like $100 billion, right? Like that's a lot of money. If we make the cuts, so we can fill some holes. D tackles aren't a crazy. They're not a CB1. They're not a wide receiver one like Jamar T type of money. Now, some of them can be. Like if you're looking at a maybe Chris Jones or something, like you can look at some expensive players, but you can also find some people that can fill holes. And also you have the second round, the third round. There's a lot of really good tackles that fall to that second round that makes it kind of a sweet spot. Not saying that our offense, if we can drop 40 and have an average defense, hey, we're gonna win a lot of games, and I trust Joe Burrow and that offense to get it done. Would it be nice to have DJ Reader still? Yeah, that'd be really nice. But the draft's a gamble still. It's still a gamble, and Tyler Warren's a dude that can do a lot of different things. So
What the fuck? I just read that comment that
Yeah,
Dale
Joe
put up.
Boo's. Yeah, Joe Boo
Yeah.
warning the ladies. Joe Boo says, "Don't go into a dark bar with Big Ben."
What the fuck?
We had a couple
Nope.
other people that said Big Ben, but then somebody said no rookie quarterback because Andrew said no rookie quarterback because everyone in the Super Bowl as a starter. So and you said it was the second year. So I
Yeah,
don't know.
because the 04 was when Roethlisberger got drafted. I want to say I think that year they made the AFC Championship game, and then they got dog walked by Tom Brady and our good buddy Corey in the AFC Championship.
So you guys want to pivot to draft talk in the chat? We've got a lot of draft talk. We can talk about everything. We still got the game going on. This is quite the show. Anthony's not even home. He's just been sitting in his car for 2 hours. This guy.
Yeah.
What a guy.
Yeah.
What a guy
Sitting
Anthony
in my
is,
truck.
man. Oh, yeah. He's like, no, it's a truck, bitch.
Yeah, I'm sitting in-
Anthony got that money. Anthony got that big truck.
Well, I am not a small man by any stretch of the word, so I need something nice and roomy for me to be able to stretch out.
Well, do you have a good name for your truck like Chop with Big Fancy?
No, no, never thought of it. I'll have to work on that.
We're gonna have to name it.
So I got a
Yeah.
question. Would you take a guy like Williams from Ohio State, always mess his first name up, Grant, or Jack Sawyer? Who out of those three at pick 17?
Sorry, I gotta ask your question again, but let me just a pick 6 for Washington.
Oh no.
24-14 Washington, pick 6. The chat is all over it.
What's the time right now? Where are they at?
It's second quarter, I know that. 6 minutes. 5:25. Pass,
5:25.
intercepted, boom, touchdown! Quan Martin, 40-yard interception return. 24-14, yeah. Wow. So it was the question was about Jack Sawyer and who else?
Williams, Ohio State C tackle, or what's the dude's name? Kenneth Grant?
Yeah. Kenneth Grant.
You take Kenneth Grant?
I take Kenneth Grant, and I said that very quickly. And somebody talked about Mike Green. Once again, I got to know what happened at Virginia. There's some rumors that I've heard that I think that will come out between now and the draft process. I'm not saying they're awful, but they're not going to be great, and I don't know how much it affects his draft stock.
I just wouldn't think he would be that
I love Mike Green
high.
as a player.
Yeah. But I didn't think Mike Green would be that high of a prospect, like maybe second round. You think he's got first round?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I think he's that guy. I really do.
I mean, I like him.
Abdul Carter. No one talks about Jalen Walker from Georgia, but I also think he's going top 10 or 15 because he's played linebacker, and he's linebacker in my draft guide. But he's an edge. He's an edge. He's like Abdul Carter, a smaller guy, but phenomenal pass rusher. And his best football is ahead of him in the NFL when he plays full-time edge, in my opinion. So there's those two, and then Mike Green. I think those are the best three pass rushing edges in this class. And I like James Pierce Jr. also from Tennessee. I know some people don't like him as much, but I do. He needs to put on a little weight, but I really like him. Donovan Ezerike from Boston College. Really like him. I think people will be talking about him as a first-round pick. I think he's going to dominate the Senior Bowl. He had 16 and a half sacks this year at Boston College. Dude can fucking play. And, everybody just got him as like a second, third round guy. It's like, nah, he's going to sneak his way into the first round. I don't know if he's worth 17, but I think he's in that conversation. And
Ashton, what about Ashton?
Ashton Gelati.
Yeah,
from Louisville. Yeah,
yeah.
he's a bigger body type. I think he's second, third round guy. It's a very good edge class. I tweeted that earlier. This edge class is very good. Then you got like the Shamar Stewarts of the world who, Dane Brugler continues to pound the table. He's going top 15. He could have a Walker rise like for the Jaguars, who went number 1 overall that season out of Georgia. And I just don't see it. He had 1.5 sacks this year. Like a 20% win rate on true pass sets, but I don't see it. Like, I just don't you got to dominate more for me to want you even at pick 17. But the physical traits, the size, the talent, dude 6'6", like 285. Like, I get why people will have him that high. I just don't. Mykel Williams. I do not like Mykel Williams from Georgia, and that's who Dane Brugler mocked to the Bengals this past week at pick 17. I would be very disappointed in that one.
That dude
I know,
plays
I've been looking-
inside and out, right?
Yeah, I know. I've been looking at the PFF mock drafts, and the few that I've done, it seems like Kenneth Grant is always the one that ends up being available, or at least ranked in the top edge of that list. So I think, at least if it's me, the way I would do it is first pick, you got to get interior pressure, interior lineman, because I think, at least this is from my years of playing ball, that the quarterback worries more about interior pressure as opposed to the edge, because if you go with edge pressure, you can avoid edge pressure. The interior pressure is going to be one that you would pay a little more attention to. So I would go edge. I mean, I would go interior line, Kenneth Grant, and then do edge. Then I'd do edge, and then maybe get an offensive. What?
I gotta read this comment, Anthony.
What the fuck?
You're all being serious, and you're killing it. And I all
right, go ahead and read it, because I'm looking at it and I'm like, God damn.
and our guy Girth Brooks, which love you, Girth Brooks. Geesh, my old lady is ripping queefs on my beer drinking couch and laughing. This guy. And also, update to the game. Goff was being checked out in the blue tent. He's walking back out. But Teddy Bridgewater is in at quarterback currently for the Detroit Lions. Teddy Bridgewater, who led a high school in Florida to a state championship, then signed after their season this year, is now in at quarterback for the Detroit Lions. That's mind-blowing to me. I'll let you guys talk about that. I got to check on my dog. Oh, I got to check on my dog.
So what are you thinking there, Dusty?
Well, I'm thinking I really wanted to see Detroit win. So that's not exactly ideal that Goff throws a pick 6 and then
Teddy Bridgewater throws a 69-yard touchdown pass.
No way.
It is 24-21. Oh my God, what a game, and I'm missing it.
I missed it too. I'm turning this game on while I'm talking to you guys.
On and watch it.
What am I doing?
Yeah, I don't have a TV down here, or I'd be watching it. Now I'm
What
going
am I?
And let's listen to it in the background.
The only reason I didn't have it on was because my internet's been garbage, so I didn't want to have something that might slow it down some. But Teddy B, that's pretty cool. I don't know. I'm kind of burnt out after we just saw the Chiefs get a win and Houston lose. I was really wanting to see a Houston Detroit Super Bowl. But who you got over the Bills and Ravens? Who you want to see? I want to see the Bills win, I guess, but I also don't want to hear all the Josh Allen. I don't want to hear all the Lamar Jackson, especially when things move forward. And I don't want to see Patrick Mahomes. So either way, it's either going to be one of those three in the Super Bowl now.
I'm gonna say this. I don't think it's gonna be Lamar. I don't know that I see it. I think it's gonna be the Chiefs and the Bills in the AFC Championship, and I think Josh Allen finally gets one on Mahomes.
Yeah. I don't. I just don't even want to see that. Like, I don't want to see it because these guys get so much love, but they've not had to deal with the stuff Joe Burrow's done, and they're always in this MVP talk and who's better and stuff. And as Bengals fans, like, we watch Joe Burrow and what he does and what he's had to do with poor offensive line, some questionable play calls, a defense with holes all through it, and still had them competing and was between a field goal, a horrible 4th and 16 passing interference call away from being there in the playoffs to try to make a run. I don't know. I'm just tired of hearing all that. How do you feel?
How do I feel? At this point, until somebody knocks Mahomes down a peg or two, he's gonna always be in the picture.
Yeah.
I think though, if you're looking at it from a law of averages point of view, Josh Allen seems like the one that I see being the one to finally get one over on Mahomes being the next one, because it seems like everybody else they crumble in the midst of everything. Right when
You
shit
can
gets
crumble in my mouth. What? That was gay. What the hell?
you talk about crumbling oh Dale. Dale.
I had to call Marissa. They went to the mall. It's always fun being a dad, and having these. I got one daughter that's graduated and one that's about to turn 15. We got the basketball homecoming now. We had the football homecoming earlier, so you got to have a dress for that. You got to have a dress for this one. So they went to the ball, and I was just calling to see, where they were at. She said they just got home. She's like, I'm sure Miley wants to show you her dress. I was like, well, does it have to be right now, or can it be just whenever I come up? Because I'm still doing the show. I didn't say it like that, though. I was like, bitch. No, I didn't do any of that.
Marissa would kick your ass.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But I'm still back. We're doing the show. I actually realized the game's on Fox, and I don't think I could watch it if I want to. And how is it 1st and goal? What is going on in this game?
Dude, I don't even know. I'm at second. Oh, I must be behind you.
Well, I'm just on the app.
That's where. Yeah,
I'm just on the app. I don't have it on.
Yeah, Jaden Daniels just threw a freaking beautiful bomb to Brown, and he landed on like the 6-yard line.
Diami.
So
he's looked really good in the playoffs. See, I liked him coming out of North Carolina, and
yeah, I
never
remember
done
talking about that
anything
kid
till this year.
Diami Brown.
Yeah, Travis, I feel you, man. It is expensive. I asked Marissa like 3 times. She kept sending me pictures of these dresses that Miley was trying on, and I'm like, well, how much is that one? How much is that one? She never answered me one time. So I guess that means the answer was you don't want to know.
The answer is you'll know when the credit card bill comes. That's your answer.
Dude, being a girl dad's already rough. Mine's super young. She ain't going to no dances or anything. But saying no to her is like just an impossible task too. She gives that look in the eyes, and that girl's got freaking 500 different stuffed animals. She loves her stuffed animals. So
well, there's also the wife side of it, because I could be
Fuzzy
like,
balls.
No, here's how much we're spending. No, we can't go over this. No, it don't fucking matter. I remember she's in 3rd grade, Dusty, 3rd grade, and she was a basketball homecoming thing, and no, it's football homecoming thing. I didn't find out about this except my sister had went with her. Marissa never would have told me. She spent $800 and some on a dress.
In 3rd grade?
3rd grade!
Oh, man. See, I'm glad my wife's cheap, because there ain't no way I'm doing that either. Should be in 3rd grade getting herself a job.
Fuzzy Balls with the $2 super chat. Would the Raiders trade Christian Wilkins?
Probably not. super
No,
expensive. We were interested in him last year, though. in
Well,
free
but he
agency.
also was a David Mulligetta client, and you know how David Mulligetta loves to do contract
Well, he
negotiations.
got paid too. They paid him a lot of money.
Yeah, no, I won't disagree there. He definitely got paid. He definitely got pizzade.
Yeah, I can't see it because you'd have to trade draft capital. The Bengals don't like doing that, and then also the money he costs. So to have to do both, I mean, for me, it's like Milton Williams. You know, if he hits the free, he's going to cost a pretty penny from the Eagles, but that would be the dream pass rusher for Deep Tech to have him locked
Now,
up in free agency. That
you
would open
brought
up
that
your
up, do
draft.
you
That would open
see?
up your draft so much.
But since you brought that up, do you see a realistic possibility where Milton Williams? Because I'm not against the pick at all. I'm not against signing him at all. But
Yeah.
could you see a possibility, depending on what he would command
I
as
would.
far as pay wise, that where he would come here?
You know, I mean, yeah, money always talks, but I have a tough time seeing the Eagles let him leave. And the Eagles are one of those teams that took advantage of the money to private investors. I'm really pissed about that because, like, oh, are the Bengals cash poor, this, that, and the other? You know, they can't hand out all this guaranteed money because Mike Brown doesn't have the cash flow.
I don't know.
Part of it.
Like, honestly, I wonder if it's more about control with the Bengals. Where
Maybe.
Oh
the
yeah, I
only
think
thing
they
is with
want.
the private equity stuff, my understanding of it was because when me, Will, and Tyler talked to Jesse James Taylor, who's that the Bengals would still maintain full control of the team, just they would have a little bit more to cover as far as getting in, like, say, covering the guaranteed money part of things, where they could maybe change up their practices as far as how they do contracts. Because I think that's the main thing, I think, now that somewhat holds us back. Or
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think a lot of it's
I'm trying to
control.
text Papa Chop and say, you need to hop in. I know you want to talk about Jaden Daniels. Go ahead, Dusty. Sorry.
If I was Chop, man, my OCD, I'd be like, my team's winning right now. I can't do anything different than what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
That's just me, though. I'm sure he's wanting to talk about it, though.
No,
Um,
he's probably not going to, but
the I think the Bengals like having their power and control. I think they kind of want to do it on their own and be as independent as possible without any outside voices maybe swaying them. But I wish they would get away from that and have a larger money flow and be able to do them guarantees and stuff. But Mike Brown, they got money. That family's got some money, man. It's not like they might not be a Dallas Jerry Jones, but they still got billions of dollars.
yeah, Jerry's well, but Jerry got his money from oil, so usually them oil tycoons are fucking nuttier than goddamn squirrel shit.
and Washington got the touchdown to Zach Ertz for 5 yards on third down.
Yep.
What? I mean, it's not even halftime, boys, and it's 31-21.
This right here is the game.
Dang.
I saw somebody in the chat. I'm not in the chat now, but they had the Eagles win the Super Bowl. The Eagles are tough, man. They got a heck of a good offensive line with, the best running back in the league right now, and two really good receivers. Their defensive line stacked. They got some good cornerbacks. I could definitely see the Eagles being Super Bowl champions, but I don't particularly like the Eagles and their fan base and their culture that they have.
Oh,
I want to say, you know what's frustrating? I would have a TV down here in the garage to be watching this game as we talk about it. But I ordered a TV for my bedroom. I had a TV in my bedroom, but it's like a little older TV. And I moved that TV. That TV is like 50-inch TV. Moved it to Miley's room. She had a 32-inch TV. I had bought myself a new 55-inch TV for my bedroom. It came in from Amazon, UPS. and it was busted.
Oh
And I'd
no!
already moved my TV to her room, so now I got her 32-inch TV in my room. It's bullshit. I got fucked.
That's
And
wild.
I haven't went and bought another one. So yeah, because I was going to move that 32-inch one down here and have it when I was down in the garage to watch.
Man, you
Yeah.
need to. Did you send it back? Did you send it back
Oh
to
yeah,
Amazon?
yeah, hell yeah. I'm like, this shit was busted, you fucking bitches.
Yeah, I would be salty about that.
Oh yeah, no, that's like damn.
Well,
Yeah,
the
that's
thing
my
was, it took like a month to come in. Like it took like a month to come in. I ordered it well
Jeez.
before Christmas, then it didn't come in until after, and then it comes in, and I'm like moving shit around, and I moved that TV in her room first so I can set this one up, and I get it set up, and then Marissa immediately goes, "Oh shit," and it's like fuck. I'm like, maybe it's not so bad. Turn it on, the screen's just completely busted. I'm like, it's great.
Yeah, was
That's
it? In other words, you walk up, you turned it on, and all of a sudden, spider webs everywhere.
damn. So you set the whole thing up and didn't even realize it. You not only moved the TV that you
Yeah, I
had,
put the
and then
stands
you
on the
put that one
bottom.
up. You
Yeah,
put
because I kept all the covering on it so it wouldn't be busted, and it was already like a scratch in it. And you turn it on, and it's just like, you know how fucked up TVs are when they're got a crack in them or whatever.
Detroit's moving the ball right now.
That's crazy.
Gibbs
This game is
Gibbs just
crazy.
Oh, it looks like he caught it. It was kind of a questionable catch. And they're on the Commanders 46 if this catch stands, and it's probably not going to because it looks like looks like it ended up hitting the ground. He kind of trapped it there. I don't know if it's going to stand or not. But if it did, they were moving the ball and they were pushing it down with a minute left. Um, so that's unfortunate.
Man, Fuzzy Balls just keeps firing. Fuzzy, I will try to read your comments or put them up. You don't have to spend all this money. I'm just trying to help your bank account out. But I do appreciate it. But he says the Browns and Lions have never been to a Super Bowl, never get too charged up supporting cursed teams. Listen, the Lions used to be the Portland Spartans in the 30s, before I was born, obviously. But I still got to root for him. That's just it's a connection. So. But yeah, the Browns did win Super Bowls, but also not in the current NFL. But their fans like to say that they've won Super Bowls.
Well, but their fans also like to say that, yeah, their fans also like to say that they're the, yeah. Well, I just lost that thought.
Yeah,
Hey,
well,
Maybe
speaking about the Browns,
their
what do
fans
you think?
also liked Deshaun Watson when they got him, and now they hate him. So
Well, here's the thing. They also tried to say that Jimmy Haslam is an excellent businessman, but not when it comes to the areas of football. But
Kentucky says that play was overturned. Dusty, he might be ahead of you, but
Yeah, they're getting ready to announce it right now.
yeah. So
Um,
Big Gang comes back.
what do you think about Miles Garrett? You think where you think he's going to be at?
uh,
He said he was good now. He was good.
Yeah, was I mean,
I don't know
yeah,
why, but that's what he
Miles
said,
Garrett,
right?
the dude's a company guy, man. Like he's just a hard. I like me some Miles Garrett. I really
I do
do.
too. Yeah.
Like
No.
he's just a grinder, a hard nosed dude. He's going to go out there. He's battled through injury after injury after injury for a team that's won 4 games. Like man, I respect that man a lot for real.
And I agree, Fuzzy Balls. Pre-Super Bowl titles are not actually Super Bowls. I agree. I'm just saying their fans like to say they've won championships.
Gibbs with a nice run. Now they're at the 46. They just picked up a first down with 47 seconds and counting. Golf stepping back. Balls tipped.
So Goff is back in. Maybe
Yeah.
they should go with Teddy Bridgewater. But this game is
Well,
off the chain.
they were pushing it.
It's not
Yeah,
even halftime. It's 31-21 with the Lions driving. It could be 31-24. It could be 31-28. What a damn game.
Who do you guys know who got the ball first? I'm sure whoever's in the chat. I'm just curious.
The Lions, because I remember they kicked it out of bounds. I was starting the show and I was like, damn, that's not a good start. They kicked it out of bounds. Washington did. And the Lions started at the 40, but then they were able to stop them and get the ball. But then the Washington didn't do anything. And then the Lions got the ball and then the Lions scored a touchdown in their second drive.
Golf to Gibbs, first down, ball like the 39 maybe, or is that the 29? It might be the 29. They just used a timeout with
Yeah,
34 seconds.
I know the Browns had a down season, Ross, but it was nice to sweep the mistake by the lake this year. Would you guys agree?
Oh yeah.
Like, fuck.
Oh,
Cleveland.
100%. 100%. And then ending the season with beating the Steelers. In the
Yeah,
whole
that was
thought,
nice.
if we could have just beat the Ravens one time, just one time in close games, really close games, good games, then we could have we could be in the playoffs. And then who was it? Philly. It was Philly where it was a real close game. The score didn't really tell the story of that game. In the second half, they just kind of there was a couple plays, and then they might be just by like 10 points, 14 points, but that game was way closer than what that score showed. There's just multiple games that stand out through this year. That was such a weird year. And I'm not. Joe has so much pressure on him, which is it's pretty crazy how he handles it, and he's able to compartmentalize all these thoughts and the pressure and go out and perform. There was definitely a few drives out there where you just would really hope that he could have closed it out. And the one that I'm thinking of where the offense did do it was Denver. They missed the field goal and give it to Zach. He's just like, screw it. Like, we're going for the touchdown here, and we're not going to chance it with a field goal. We're going to let Joe keep it. How did you you guys might have already talked about this at some point, but how'd you guys feel? Oh, golf interception, son of a gun, man.
Whoa.
Interception in the end zone.
Wow.
Mike Sanders still, that dude, that talk about a draft pick from last season or for this year, rookie. That guy's
What's most impressive about Sanders still to me, and I know you had something. We'll go back to what you were talking about. I'll let you talk about that again so we get back up. But I mean, it's when you're watching a game, it's kind of one of those shows, where game's on, you can't not talk about it. It's a live reaction type show. But Sanders still, man, it's like he's going to be a really good slot corner. He's played outside corner for them and been amazing.
He played that ball perfectly. Like, just undercut it. A great hands catch by the dude too.
What were your thoughts on Sanders still, Anthony?
What was that?
What was your thoughts on Mike Sanders still coming out from Michigan?
I think he's definitely a decent slot corner. I wish we would have ended up getting him because I know
he was going to be a good outside corner. I didn't.
That dude's a steal, man.
They had a good draft. They drafted a bunch of, obviously Daniels, but Ben Sinnott, we haven't even seen a lot of him.
They got Johnny Newton too, and
yes,
Mike Sanders still, Ben Sinnott. They had a great draft. I remember watching that draft. I was like, damn, Washington they're cooking right now.
Those first 4 picks were freaking nasty for them.
Yeah, that was kind of like the Bengals, what was it, 19 draft class with Joe, T, Logan, and then they got Akeem Davis-Gaither. I think Akeem was that 4th round pick, right? I might be thinking of a different year. But
so I'll let Anthony talk about Sanders still, and then I want to get to this comment from M because I think McPherson does deserve a lot of the blame for this season. But go ahead, Anthony. Thoughts on Sanders still?
Sanders still? I'm with Dusty. I think he ended up being a major steal for Washington. Wish we would have ended up getting him. Because with the fact that I'll be completely honest, I don't know that I see Mike Hilton coming back. I think he'll end up going wherever Lou ends up going.
that's sad because I think you could be right with that. But man, Mike had a decent year, and at times, he was a huge part of this defense. So,
truthfully, like I said, I think the whole thing with Mike Hilton not coming back, I think it's more or less he's leaving because he wants to follow Lou.
Well, Lou didn't get the Atlanta jobs filled. Unless Lou gets the coach job, I'm not sure Lou gets a D coordinator job.
Yeah, he interviewed.
But
Did
not
he interview
necessarily.
already with the Colts?
Yeah.
Not necessarily though, because you have the Jaguars position still open, and you still have a bunch of these head coaching positions still open that he could still get one
That's
of
fair.
them.
That's fair. That's fair.
So I think he'll get
I
something.
do think he will get. I do too. I think somebody will hire him. I do.
I just don't want him to go to. I just don't want him to go anywhere anywhere in the AFC North. Let him go to. Let him go to. I don't know. Let him go
Well,
to
Papa
Dallas.
Chop threw out the worst scenario to me, and it's what happens if Spags gets a head coaching job, the D coordinator for the Chiefs, and then the Chiefs say,
Pittsburgh.
Hey Lou, let's bring you in because we don't like playing against you in the playoffs."
Oh, fuck.
And then he would know Joe Burrow. I mean, that is a nightmare scenario.
Yeah. No, that definitely.
I do not like that.
I know.
I just threw up in my mouth a little bit.
Yeah. But I want to get to this for a minute. McPherson cost us the playoffs, but we can blame it on the defense. I mean, the defense was dog shit too. I mean, I can't say they weren't. They played much better, but why did it take Lou so long to do that? To simplify the scheme, to play the guys.
Well, but that goes back to what I've been saying. I think Lou, after Jesse left, I think struggled to adapt. He struggled to change the philosophy, because usually anytime a major player leaves a defense or an offense, usually most coordinators typically either find a player that is close to fitting what they need, or they do a change of philosophy as far as for how they do things. I don't think Lou ever really found that guy to fill the likes of a Jesse Bates. In my opinion, that's just me though.
Yeah, all
No.
good.
I just don't like blaming Evan. Now, there was.
He sucked. He sucked this year. Let's call it what it was. He sucked.
We'll keep it a buck. I agree. Put it this way. I agree with you, Dale.
Go ahead. I want Dusty to go ahead.
So Evan was instrumental. He was huge in the reason we made it to the Super Bowl. The kid's young. That's a lot of pressure. It's a lot to handle and deal with, and the defense. It's a combined effort. You know, there was times the offense failed us in what they put up 7 points against a really bad, maybe 7 or 10 points against the Patriots week 1. That's completely unacceptable. You know, now you have Evan too. You have the defense. Evan's just got to bounce back, man. If he doesn't bounce back, then maybe he had a really good year and things got in his head, and who knows. But
what is this guy doing? He's going to get fined so much money. Jameson Williams, after his touchdown, did you see this, Dusty? This man was pounding that ground.
Show it again. I was looking up at the TV. Show it again.
So what is that, like his new stripper routine, or what the hell?
Oh, his dance. Yeah. I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, damn.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about, but hey.
I can always go back to the Key and Peele skit. You do 3 pumps. If you do 3 pumps, then you're getting the flag. If you just do 2, it's okay. So you're gonna do it. But this man was literally just
my gosh.
Putting a hole in it.
Dude.
Wow.
He's gonna get fined a lot.
On national TV, go to do your thing, man.
That's hilarious. I seen that and I was like, I've gotta. Like, no, I don't remember anybody bringing that
up. Go back to that last comment. Yeah.
What, this one?
Bring that last. No, the one after. I think one that Andrew put up. There was a reason why Lou was the last choice for defensive coordinator.
Dude,
they wanted a lot of other people.
But here's the thing: when Lou first became the defensive coordinator, he was a first-time defensive coordinator. He's took his lumps,
but he didn't have no help from Zach either. You know what I mean?
And I'm not disagreeing there. So it's like I think on the one hand, does he have a point to what he's saying? Yeah, I'll give him some validity, but you also got to think about it. He was the first time defensive coordinator. Going from a defensive backs coach to a defensive coordinator, that's two totally separate things. You're going from focusing on one position to focusing on the entire defensive unit.
And building a scheme and everything. Yeah,
Oh
it's a
yeah,
lot.
no, without question. So it's like he's going through and cutting his teeth, but it's like I think in the years since he's had 6 years to work as our defensive coordinator, and I ain't gonna lie, he make me nervous on some things. Yeah, he definitely did, but we're gonna see. Like I said, unfortunately now, yeah, he's no longer with us. I want to know, in you guys' opinion, do you think this the firing of Lou Anarumo, Marion Hobby, James Betcher, and Frank Pollock now puts a lot of the pressure on Zach Taylor?
I
Yeah,
think it helped.
I think the pressure was there. I think the pressure was going to be there anyways. And he said, "Oh, those are my decisions." I respect Zach for saying that. At the end
Oh
of the
no, I
day,
do
we know
too.
nothing gets done in that building without Katie, Troy, and Mike Brown's say so. If they said we're keeping Lou would have been safe. But Zach certainly is on the hot seat, and you can say, well, now you put yourself on the. Either way, I think Zach is fully on the hot seat. And Dusty, I'll let you talk because you were jumping in there too.
Yeah, I think I got a lot of respect for Zach. He came in. The thing I don't like is that he really doesn't have much of a defensive input. I forget what podcast I was listening to, and they were basically stating, Zach says he kind of lets the defensive coordinator run the show there. So as a head coach, he's not seeing like the broad range of things. And then you have Darren Simmons, a special teams dude. I think our special teams finished like first in the league, even with Evan being injured, having missed kicks and stuff. But I do think Zach has built a pretty good culture. There's a lot of times where I want to see Zach more of a personality, like fired up a little more and get the guys motivated. More of a Dan Campbell. I'm just personally more of a Dan Campbell type of person where like I like getting hyped up, and the NFL coaches being even kill for a guy like Joe Burrow might be a little better option. But I think it's a good chance for Zach to kind of rebuild his team in a sense with bringing in now, like I think Dale said, bringing in people, but the Blackburns are going to have a say in it. So Zach he's also going to have a say. So he's got kind of a chance to do a rebuild of his roster or of his coaching staff and bring in some dudes with different ideas and see how it works out. And yeah, he might be on the hot seat, and he probably is on the hot seat. But the offense was playing pretty good. There was a few games, and there was definitely some questionable calls that have happened. But overall, the offense looked good. What's that one dude that's in? He's in for the Bills. Brady.
Joe
I
Brady.
Joe Brady. I really think that would have been a cool pairing with Joe Burrow back years ago. If you could have brought Joe Brady in, it didn't happen, but I think that
Yeah, I
would have been
think,
pretty damn cool.
and that's like another thing I want to kind of because I've heard people.
Well, first, Anthony, let me say this comment from Cola King, who's Cola King 420, who is a first-time viewer. He just says weeds. I feel you, brother.
Weeds.
Continue. His name is Cola King 420. He says weeds. Respect.
Okay. I don't get the premise behind it, but hey,
420 weeds.
He's probably saying Dusty's talking in circles, put him in the weeds. That's what happens when I turn the TV on, man.
Oh my God. Cola King is smoking some reefer, guys. The devil's lettuce.
devil's lettuce.
One
Yeah.
last dance with Mary Jane. One more time to kill the pain. All right,
Well,
continue, Anthony.
anyway,
It's a good song.
another thing I want, isn't it? Because, like, for instance, I know when they fired Lou, everybody was saying, "Oh, we need to go get Robert Saleh. We need to get Dennis Allen." We like, and then when the fact that, hey, because I
That
still
might have
see
been
some
me.
people. Oh, but I've still seen some people bitch and complain that, hey, that they never came up in conversation. I say, who's and only thing I'm going to say with that, and then, hey, I'm going to drop it after that, is who's to say that they didn't contact him and they just turned down and said, hey, I'm not interested. It does happen.
It may have happened, but you'd really love to see them make a push and just be like, hey, our defense wasn't that good. Let's bring in the best guy that we can, just the best candidates. I think that's where maybe the frustration lies, especially for me. Like I want to see, and I would say most Bengals fans, they want to see the best options on the table. Who does not want to be there with a Joe Burrow, a Jamar Chase? Hopefully we bring Trey Hendrickson back. But our secondary, we do have a young secondary. We have guys like DJ Turner hurt, Dax Hill hurt. Like there's some players out there. Logan Wilson, he ended up getting injured and doing some surgeries. You have Miles Murphy, who I still think his the best balls in front of him. But there's definitely players out there that we have. So
Miles
what?
Murphy was always a developmental guy. He has a
Yeah,
shitload of talent.
the traits are there. If everything winds
If
up
they can
in
channel everything else, if they can channel everything else all together, the trait. I agree, I get where I get where Dusty's trying to go. The
But
traits are
that's why I
there.
don't want Michael Williams. Like, give me a new D coordinator that can get the best out of Miles Murphy. Because I like,
the dude's got a motor too. That's why I like Miles Murphy so much. He reminded me. He had a motor in college. He would run quarterbacks down. Maybe he didn't get off off a block super quick, but he'd flush the quarterback out. He'd chase him down. He didn't quit. He had a motor. Um, he tackled pretty good, and his pass rush was good. He didn't develop his a whole bunch of moves. He really just kind of maybe you just have a bull rush and that's all you got, and you win on it a
Well,
lot.
well, but playing the edge. Look at how Trey plays. There, you have to have more than just the bull rush. You got to be able to have a
Oh
cross
yeah,
chop, have a swim move, a rip,
yeah,
but Trey's hands
something
are
of that sort.
crazy.
yeah.
Trey's a freaking ninja. If you just watch Trey's hands, they're so fast, they're
Which goes
quick.
back to
No,
MMA background stuff, right, Anthony? We were talking about the other day. Like,
Yeah. So no, it goes back. Like I said, it goes back. You got to have more than one move, and I think
right.
like Miles, at least from watching him, because I also played D line too. Miles is a big, strong kid. I think he gets a little too reliant on being able to just push somebody back and say, "Oh, hey, I'm stronger than them. I'm going to be able to go ahead and just get past them." Whereas, say, if you're going against the likes of, say, a Trent Williams, or say, God forbid, a Laramie Tunsil, or any of those any of those top tackles, you're gonna have you're gonna have a hard time, because they've been in the league a long while. They've been in the league a long while. They know the moves that they're gonna see. They know how to combat those moves, and having an extra move or two. So say, hey, you see them try to get inside, you do a cross chop to get their hands out of the way, so you can be able to get the proper leverage to get that nice little bend going around.
No, I agree with you, but I just think the molding of talent. If you have the talent, you have the physical traits, you have somebody that's done like they have a very good workable mold, and to see it not be created, that's where I get a little irritated. And then the secondary with Jordan Battle and stuff. How long did everybody get Jordan Battle out there? Get Jordan Battle on the field. Like it just that took forever to develop after he played pretty good the year the year prior. I don't know. Did you guys talk about Geno Stone?
Yeah, he's probably
We talked
gone.
about cuts. I think him and Pratt are the two that will be up to the new D coordinator. But I think there's easier cuts like Hubbard and Rankins and Kappa. Like those three, to me, those three, I think Zach Moss with the neck is probably another cut. But the top three, which saves a lot of money, is Kappa, Rankins, and Hubbard. And Hubbard, restructure, whatever, I don't care. But I'm not paying him $10.5 million. So that's my thoughts on that. And then I think Stone and Pratt fall into that. It depends on the new D coordinator, the new linebacker coach, and they could still hire new secondary coaches. Honestly, if they wanted.
Dusty, where are you at on that?
Oh, shoot, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so to go back to the game real quick, it's 31-21, 13 minutes. Detroit got a big stop, and Washington is punting it away. And the ball bounced to about probably like the 8-yard line, looks like. But yeah, I think we could definitely save some money with Geno Stone, an additional cut there with Geno Stone, because I think Dejon Anthony's got a lot of potential. I really think he could turn into a pretty decent player. And then I like Jordan Battle, so I would like to see maybe a dude with a little more talent keep a little.
Oh, you cut out again on us. Dusty's
Yeah.
internet does not like Dusty.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so I just don't think Dejon Anthony. I don't know if I see him as a starter, but I think the dude has a lot of potential and he could develop into that. So I could see the Bengals. I think there's a need at safety still, and if I can remember right, I think Geno Stone, if we cut him, it saves us around $8 million. So
I think 6.5, 6.
is it 6?
Yeah, I think his contract would be 8.5, but there's a couple 1.5 to 2.
I mean, that's still a dent. Like
I agree.
That's a really good guard, a decent guard that we could pick up for 6. You're cutting Kappa, so you're saving money there too. So we could fix a guard spot or two. I don't know. I'm cool. Geno Stone did. He started making some plays down the stretch, and I don't know if that was just loose scheme. I don't know. Maybe he wasn't. I don't know. Maybe he just didn't pick it up quick enough. I'm not going to say his football intelligence, but like maybe he just didn't pick it up quick enough, or maybe there's multiple things. But there was times where you would see a tackle that he should make, and he would take really poor angles. In Jordan Battle, he took angles that were pretty bad too. So I don't know if that has to do with like a coaching thing where they're telling him. I don't know. That was kind of weird to me. Did you think Jordan Battle's angles were pretty bad at times?
Sometimes, but I don't know. I like Jordan Battle.
I like Jordan Battle too, but bias aside, there was sometimes he took some angles that were pretty bad, or he didn't wrap up.
That was the problem with Dak. Like that was a problem with Dax Hill too. Like,
but Dax would take good angles.
When he was playing safety, he did not.
Okay,
one of the biggest knocks on him at safety.
But at corner, he took some really good angles, and he was in position to make plays. He didn't always wrap up.
Geno stoned. Good comment, Cola King 420.
Yep, definitely good comment.
No, anything else, guys? We've been at this for 2.5 hours. Still a second half of this game. Probably end it soon, but anything else you guys want to talk about before we do?
Oh, Jared Goff just got lit up.
Ooh.
A helmet to helmet, right, or maybe right under the chin. Jeezy Pete. But they picked up the first down.
It's a hell of a game.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. Definitely a hell of a game.
Anything else, Anthony?
Yeah, do either of you realistically see us keeping T, and what do you see the amount being? And would T take it?
Anthony, you know I love me some tea, bro.
No, I'm just curious. I know you do that, but I'm also saying realist. I want to see from a realistic standpoint because everybody's on the whole T. Hey, if he hits the free agent market, he's gonna command like 30 something mil.
But
Big
now they
ribbon
are.
stuff.
Last year, remember, there's a lot of people that weren't on the T train. I talked about T a while ago. When you think about players that the Bengals, like if you think about the Cincinnati Bengals, you think Joe, Jamar, Trey Hendrickson, T Higgins.
Yeah.
When Jesse Bates left, that was the whole thing too. It was like, hey, you want to retain guys you draft. That was my big thing about Jesse. Like you develop this dude. He's a top tier player. You want to do your best to keep these guys, and you don't want to see like I imagine like if I worked in that industry, I wouldn't want to perform so well that I established myself somewhere and they weren't willing to pay me, so I had to go somewhere else. Like I like T Higgins a lot. His injuries are definitely concerning where he gets banged up and different things, but maybe you get this dude some money, he can work on his strength conditioning, his stretching and mobility a little more, and those hamstring injuries aren't affected as much. But I I think keeping T would be a really good move by the Bengals. And if they make the cuts we were talking about, the money is going to be there. Other teams make it work. The Bengals need to find a way to make these things work.
Like Fuzzy Ball says, 5 years, 125 million. Sign me up for that because, I said a couple years ago we could avoid this whole mess of franchise tag, this, that, and the other if we would have signed him 2 years ago to a 3-year, $75 million deal.
Hey,
So
Michael
he'd be under
Pittman.
contract. He'd be under contract for next year also. It made so much sense. Like I don't know why they didn't do it, but hey, they didn't. But if I could get T for 25 per, let's say it's 4 for 100, let's say it's the 3 for 75 or the 5 for 125, whatever works. Joe wants him back, and I think him switching agents was a clear signal that he wants to be back. So
because do you ever watch Bengal Jim's show?
I really don't. No, I don't watch.
No,
I don't watch your show. I don't watch any other show. I don't watch Locked On. Like I appreciate the content everybody puts out, but like I don't ever want it to be like, oh, I feel like I'm copying off of something someone else does.
No,
Like,
I understand.
That is just how I've done this for 3 or 4 years. Like, when it comes to Bengals content, I want to be original, and I don't want other thoughts to creep in my mind on it. I'll read a lot of shit, but I don't. That's just my honest opinion. And I also like Turtles. Cola King. But
I will say
thanks for another super chat, Fuzzy Balls. We were 1-4 without T, 8-4 with T. That's a good point.
Yeah. I do. The only one I really listen to outside of Dale's here and there would be AC, the GOAT, the godfather of it for me. But
Anthony, yeah.
Anthony Cosenza. Yeah. So that dude's a dude, but
yeah, I love Anthony.
But could you imagine, like, I remember when Michael Pittman's contract hit, and it was 3 years, 75 mil. That right there was kind of the base point because he was drafted second round. He was a little further back than what.
But we don't know what Mulligetta was asking for, and I think that's why he's no longer his agent. That's the thing.
Right.
I think the Bengals would have probably given T that at that point when Pittman signed his. But I think I want you to continue, Dusty, but to me, that's the difference is like now he got rid of Mulligetta saying he's not going to take a hometown discount, but he's also going to be reasonable. And they can franchise him again if they want. And I would franchise him and trade him before I let him walk out the building for nothing like they did Jesse Bates.
Exactly.
Third round comp pick, but that wasn't even guaranteed. Remember, originally we were getting a 5th or 6th. Then they had to redo the formula after the picks were announced and gave us the 3rd.
Yeah, that's what's frustrating is the like, oh, we can probably get a comp pick, whatever. Like, we'll let this dude play out. Like, utilize every team in the NFL utilizes the franchise tag as to keep negotiating going and trying to get a long-term deal done. The Bengals are one of the few teams that use it as, oh, we're locking you in and you're here this year. They already gave him, what did he get, 21, 22 million this year? Like,
Might as well say 22. It was 21.8, but
right.
Yeah,
So
and next year would be almost 26 if they double franchise him.
I think it'd be 26.1 if I'm not mistaken.
St. Brown with a huge run right here that took him to about the 6-yard line. Sorry, Anthony.
No, you're good. I think it'd be like 26.1 mil if I'm not mistaken if they go with this second time franchise tag.
Yeah, so why do that to a guy? Like, I mean, it's good money; it's all guaranteed. But this was my, I think Anthony was on the show when we talked about it last year, like maybe last April or something. And I was like, dude, if you sign T right now, or if you would have got the deal done, you're already guaranteed this amount of money, and then next year you're going to franchise tag him and either trade him or he's going to play on it. So you're looking at $50 million. You could have done the Michael Pittman deal, and yeah, it's 2/3 of that contract that you're guaranteeing, but it's no different than what you're willing to pay on the franchise tag. So that's what did make sense. I would really like to see T back in stripes, man. I really
Lions
would.
scored a touchdown. Jameer Gibbs, what a dude he is. Now we're about to have a 31-28 game. Hell of a game, Commanders
Damn,
Lions.
how are you guys that far ahead of me?
No, I'm not watching the game. I'm on the ESPN app, and
Same here.
Wesley says, "I hate the Lions. Why is everyone rooting for them?" Listen,
They remind me of the
I don't hate
Bengals,
them.
bro.
Yeah, they remind me of the Bengals, but also they're the Portrait Spartans. I've said this so many times. We had an NFL team in here before we had the methamphetamine. We had the Portrait
What the
Spartans.
fuck?
What?
I said, what the fuck?
I mean, it's true. Now we just have meth. We don't have the NFL. That was in the 30s, whatever is before I was born.
No,
So
I get that.
There's a connection for me that it's like, yeah, I can root for them. And being a downtrodden franchise, I can at least root for that. That is why for me, I can't, but I get it. Everybody's going to root for different people. Like at the end of the day, we all root for the Bengals. But when you're talking about a second team or a third team or whoever in the playoffs, I do like to see upsets. So I would like the Commanders to beat Detroit. So I probably just sealed the Commanders' fate that the Commanders will lose this game because I want to see the Commanders win.
What, for Chop?
For Chop, but I think Jane Daniels is fun. I want to see more Jane Daniels. I don't know. Like, it's like quarterback wise, it's just another, like, Joe Burrow is fun to watch. That's why I don't understand why people hate the Bengals so much or they hate Joe Burrow so much. It's like, how can you not watch and be like, he's fun to watch? If I had to pick a quarterback from the two teams, who would I rather watch at quarterback going forward? Jared Goff or Jane Daniels? It'd be Jane Daniels, but I think they got a hell of a coach in Dan Campbell. Aaron Glenn, Ben Johnson, guys that are getting their coordinators that are getting head coaching interviews. There's a lot to like with the Lions, and especially for me. But I'm still rooting for the Commanders just because Jay Daniels is fun as hell to watch.
And no, you're not wrong. You are not wrong at all. He is a lot of fun to watch.
Another game that shocked us early in the year was the Washington game.
Right.
What, that shot us in the foot?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Well, we had so many, though, right? We had the Chiefs. We had both Baltimore games. We had the Steelers the first time we played them. We had, it's just the New England game, the Washington game. It's just so many games that could have
How did they put up 44 points against us, man? I think it was 44.
Hell, I'm still trying to wrap my head around it.
Like, that is insane. How did Pittsburgh do that? Like,
yeah, Russ cooked that day, and Russ didn't
Jesus.
cook any other day.
Man, Russ could cook this. I don't know. Fuck Russell Wilson.
You're about to say cook that big black meat?
Yeah, we'll go with that.
What he's just weird, man. I don't.
He is,
I used to
man. I
like.
don't know how-
He's a fucking cornball. But what do you expect?
I liked Russ when he was in Seattle, and then he goes to Denver, and you start seeing like this dude's kind of weird, bro. And then I don't know. He just seems
Here's the thing,
weird.
because I got a family that live in Seattle, and supposedly like a lot of the guys, a lot of the league supposedly is like basically busted on Russ for being such a cornball the entire time.
Yeah.
And plus, apparently, like Russ was married when he first came into the league to some white chick.
Well, yeah, remember the draft? She was so excited. She thought she secured the bag.
And later on, the plot thickens. She ends up getting caught getting plowed by fucking Golden Tate. So it's like a lot's happened that has made people like not respect Russ. And then I guess he thought,
Golden Tate from Notre Dame.
what was that?
I said Golden Tate from Notre Dame.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, no, he is a Notre Dame alum. So yeah, there's a lot there. And you know how it is. You can be liked by people but not be respected. And
I don't like
it.
him.
Yeah, I don't like it either. Let's ride. Let's ride.
Broncos country, let's ride.
Dude, I remember thinking like maybe somebody told him like, "Hey, this is what we're saying and doing," and put him in a weird, awkward position. But dude's weird.
No, he's definitely weird. But I will give him this. Sierra. Woo-hoo-hoo. Woo. I dragged my nuts through a mile of glass to sniff that pussy.
Is that the alcohol talking, sir?
Good chance. But also, I think Sierra's hot as fuck.
Oh no, I'm not. Oh, she's nice looking. Hey, I'm not going to disagree. I'm not going to disagree there. That's why, like, I laugh when people say, "Well, you wouldn't do that for Taylor Swift." I'm like, no, I think she's kind of nuts.
Yeah, she don't do it for me.
Um,
Shakira, on the other hand, if that's Shakira up there shaking her hips, her hips are a lot.
Yeah, no, I'll give you that.
Like Shakira, I mean, that'd be a toxic relationship. I'd be all about it with Shakira. Like, hips don't lie. Okay.
Damn it, Dale.
That's what happens when you're 3 hours into a show on Bengals and Brews.
Yes, and that's why I love you guys. But but here's the thing though. With a guy like Russ, do you see him getting picked up next year?
Somebody will, yeah. Somebody, yeah.
But do you see him being a starting quarterback? Because something tells me I don't think he's going to be with Pittsburgh next year.
No, I don't think he should have been the starter this year. Like,
I don't even think, and I'm gonna go on a limb and say it now. I don't even think Justin Fields will be with Pittsburgh next year.
Well, they got to do something though, right? And I think they can bring Fields back at a decent price, can't they? And they're like I could be wrong.
Ideally, yeah, they could. Yeah, they could bring him back at a reasonable price. But the thing is, you look at kind of how he got did. You know, these guys have a certain bit of pride that goes into what they do. Like, would Fields be willing to put his pride aside and take an offer, especially if it's a chance to start in the NFL?
Yeah,
That's
got unnecessary roughness, 15 yards and forced at the 50. So now they're down to the 35. Washington is driving 31-28. Washington.
It was a pretty weak call too. It was basically
they did Mahomes call.
They did a delayed handoff.
I'll be right back, guys.
You're good.
So Detroit did Washington did a delayed handoff. And then Jaden Daniels got lit up on it. But it was kind of like a helmet to helmet, and the defender pushed off on him, but it wasn't. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, so it was like a delayed handoff. Jaden Daniels gets a little bit of a helmet to helmet from a Detroit defender, Pascal, and he gets shoved. Didn't look anything crazy bad. Whatever. I mean, he got hit decently good, but
So yeah, I don't like. Yeah, I think going into the off season though, I think probably out of everybody in our division, like the teams that are probably in the worst position, if you're looking at if you're looking at areas of concern that need to be filled, would probably be Cleveland and Pittsburgh.
what do you think is going to happen with Mike Tomlin? Because I have a lot of friends that are Pittsburgh fans, and they cannot stand him. They want him fired. They want him gone. What
Here's
I think he's a pretty damn good coach for real for what he has, what he's worked with and different things. I think he's a pretty good coach. Like I'm not.
Where I sit on it though is that I think at the end of the day, they're saying that right now because they haven't been able to get out of the fucking first round of the playoffs.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, he's kind of like the Marvin Lewis, but also he's. I mean, I think he's a good coach. But I can also see their standpoint. Like when they won a Super Bowl, it was pretty much under the staff that Bill Cowher developed.
Fuzzy balls. If the Bengals tried to trade T, what motivation is there for T to approve it? If he can just play one more year at 26 and become an unrestricted free agent, almost no chance T would approve it.
Well, I mean, the deal's probably going to be good enough that T's going to want to go there. They're going to be looking at, a number one, whoever it is. Maybe it's Washington that would want to do it. I can see Washington being a trade partner.
Yeah, you get some reasonable draft capital for him. That goes without saying.
Right.
I think
I always bring up the Jaguars too and Trevor Lawrence, but continue, Anthony.
Yeah.
Well, but here's the thing though, like you got Trent Baalke, who honestly probably has the brain and the attention span of a potato. I'm just saying, I've seen some of the draft picks he's done in recent years have just kind of left you scratching your head, going, "What the fuck just happened?" So, like I said, there's some people that like I'm surprised that when they fired Doug Peterson, I'm surprised Trent Baalke didn't go with him, unless he's literally in the office with Shad Khan blowing Shad Khan.
Ooh, big hit. Stopped him short of the first down.
Oh, but is it close?
It's probably 2 yards short. It looks like they're. Yeah, he's definitely down. Probably about a yard. Probably 2 yards short of the first down.
Man, I would consider going for it, only being up 3, because if you kick the field goal, you're up 6. I know it's still only third quarter though, so this is an interesting spot then.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, it definitely is.
Yeah, they're on the 8 or the 16, 17-yard line of Detroit. So I mean, they're going
4th and 2. Oh, reverse, so not a catch.
Yeah, I'm not to that. They're going to commercial now.
What I see is Jaden Daniels pass short right to De'Ami Brown, pushed out of bounds at the Detroit 7. Okay, so for 12 yards, played challenge to replay official in reverse. Jaden Daniels pass short right to De'Ami Brown, to Detroit 16 for 3 yards. What? I'm very confused.
Yeah, it was probably about the 16. It looked like it was maybe 17, 16. So it should be about 4th and 1 or 4th and 2 right now.
4th and 2 is what it's showing on the ESPN.
Yeah, that's probably right. It's on commercial, so I don't know what they're doing.
All right.
I didn't say they were challenging.
I don't know what all that was. So they had something and then it didn't, and I don't even know. Reverse the yards, Travis said. Okay, because, what I read made no sense even to myself as I read it. So,
Yeah. I watched it. It made no sense to
Elbow
what you
was-
said and what was going on.
right? I'm just reading this, and
You confused me more than what my eyes
I
just
just
saw,
read
brother.
what I read. I know that I read it correctly, but it didn't make sense.
So we were talking about Mike Tomlin. Did you hear that conversation? What do you think Pittsburgh's going to do? I got a lot of friends that are Pittsburgh fans, and I'm in a huge group chat with a few guys that are on Pittsburgh fans, Bengals fans, Brown fans, and a lot of them want Tomlin gone. So, what do you think's going to happen with old Mike?
Well, I can only say that motherfucker Tyler Kelly is the Steelers fan I know the most, even though we got hit Cincy tramp stamp because Tarek Harris got more online votes for Walter Payton Man of the Year. But then Cam Hayward won the award. That guy is so fucking stupid.
What, Tyler Kelly or
Tyler Kelly. But he wanted Tomlin fired last year, but we had him on after the Steelers game this year, and he wants to keep Tomlin now. And I think the Steelers have said they're keeping him. I could still see a team trying to trade for him, and I think that's been reported. There's a couple teams that
the Bears. I've heard. I mean, put it this
and
way,
they've turned it down though. They've turned it down, so he is at least back next year. But his seat is hot. Listen, it's great going to the playoffs, but he's about to tie Marvin's record of consecutive playoff losses if he makes the playoffs and loses again. He has 7. Marvin had 8 in a row.
You would, that's.
But my thing is, offensively, he's never had an offense like what Marvin had. Now, Marvin was a defensive coach.
So is he.
Yeah. So, but, an AJ Green, an AJ Green, Marvin Jones, a Muhammad
George
Sanu.
Pickens has AJ Green talent. He's just a fucking basket case.
And
in other words, you're saying pretty much what I've been saying this entire time to all the Steelers fans I know, and they say, "Oh, you're just bitter," and I'm like, "Well, but at least I got Jamar Chase."
I want to get back to this conversation.
Oh, they got a first down.
Cola King 420 says, "Where can we meet up? I got Baskin Robbins." Listen, Cola King, I'm 2 hours from everything and everybody at minimum, but I will say one place that anybody that's watching and anybody in the Brew Crew can meet up, and it'll be March 15th at Midwest Best Barbecue, one of the sponsors of our show. We had our draft event there last year, and this year it's going to be at the Folding Warehouse, where the Bengals do a lot of events too and stuff. Ted Karras, Sam Hubbard, they all have events there. So we're going to have a bigger space and do that there. But Midwest Best Barbecue, March 15th, we're going to try to do a live show. I can't promise it'll go well. I've only tried to do one before. It didn't go great. That was for a Thursday night football game with special guest Shane Graham. We don't have any guests scheduled, but we're going to have a lot of fun. And Midwest Best Barbecue, it's a rib weekend. It's going to be a great time. Midwest Best Barbecue, salt of the earth people, good food. And I hope everybody can come, and that will come and support us. Not come like come. But maybe once you taste their food, it'll make you come. But it should be a good time because it's right after free agency starts. So it's like the Saturday after free agency starts during that week. It should honestly be so much to talk about. Moves that were made, moves we should have made, people that are here, people that left. So, Midwest Best Barbecue, March 15th. I believe we're going to try to do the show around the time we do our normal shows, around 3:30 p.m.
Oh,
So
you
that's
said
the plan.
you said that's a draft event?
No, this is a after free agency event.
Oh, okay.
The draft event is going to be at the Folding Warehouse. More details to come with Project Game Day as far as that goes, But that's locked in. It's at the Folding Warehouse for the day 2 of the draft event. But the Midwest Best Barbecue event is the week free agency starts. We're doing a live show. Bengals and Brews are at Midwest Best Barbecue.
The Folding Warehouse, that's where they did the kind of like the cornhole bowling or whatever you want to call it, like I don't even know what it is. That where it is? Where they throw like the footballs
Yeah,
at
you
the
throw the
bowling pins?
football. Yep, that is
Yep.
what that is. And I've never done that, so I'm excited to do it. We've reserved all the lanes. We've reserved the entire warehouse. And it'll probably be a charge to get in. I'm hoping we can keep it at $30 like we did last year with Midwest. And we're also going to have Midwest Best cater food to that event. So, and maybe there'll be some other food places. So you get all that included in your get in price. So
I'm down.
yeah, I mean,
Worth
sounds
it.
like a good time, right? Like,
And this
and
this
it's
all
actually not far from where I live, so yeah, I'd be down.
and this goes for Project Game Day, right?
yes, any proceeds that are made, because you know, we're paying some money to reserve the lanes, but we expect to recoup that money and, you know, get in price for people, and then any other proceeds and anything else we do, it goes directly to Project Game Day, and that's getting military veterans, and it's getting individuals with disabilities to Bengals games like we did this season, which was Anthony, you were there a lot. Maybe you can speak on it. It was pretty special. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I think the very last home game was probably the one that was the most that really touched me, was seeing little Riley there. That was one that
And
talking to
Tristan
her
was the other.
family.
Tristan Stoner was the other kid, and you know, both. She's gone through a lot of surgeries though, and yeah, continue.
So no, I'm just saying no. That's hell of a cause to be able to just say, hey, if you've got the time and you can come down, enjoy the draft, enjoy watching the second night of the draft with us. Get to talk some football, maybe meet some new people, new and interesting people. Maybe hear Chop go on one of his usual rants and shit.
Well, I mean, last year at Midwest we had Corey Dillon there, and then Ted Karras also came through. So I can't promise anything yet, but we're trying to get some former players there as well.
Hey, and regardless of the players that are there, that's all fun and is super cool. But the cause is really amazing like for people to have good hearts come together and do something to bring Bengals fans and make it a community. That's a really awesome thing you guys are doing. And so anybody that's thinking about going, think of like you're going to have fun. You know, it's going to be a good time. You're going to meet new people. Everyone is going to be friendly and nice and whatever. So all that's a plus, but also add on to it, you're getting a really good experience. On top of that, you're getting to invest your money into a good cause that's going to go on for people to have good, fun experiences that are Bengals fans.
It's the same thing with the draft guide I do. You know, I would do this anyways, but it's like I put that out there for a $5 donation to Project Game Day for charity. And you get the draft guide, and I put a ridiculous amount of hours into this. It's crazy. And it's 300, it's like 60, 50 pages. You know, it's a crazy amount of work I put into it. I stand on what I put in, the time and effort into that. But it's also just knowing the calls that it goes toward. And what we were able to do as just a group of friends is pretty special. And, you know, that's Bengals Bourbon. That's Houday Joe. That's Cincy James. It's Derek. It's Santori. It's Greg. It's Darth Bengal. It's a lot of people. And then none of it happens, too, without the Brew Crew. And with guys, Anthony, you've always supported, and the draft event. And that draft event was packed last year. That's why we're doing a bigger event this year, because it was packed. The place was packed. And that was the first year of starting it.
Yeah, because
Touchdown, Washington. 38-28. Continue.
38. Oh shit! They're up by 10. There, they went up again. Damn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be. This is turning into a good old fashioned barn burner. Yeah, meet some good folks. The Washington Foreskins scored again. Goddamn.
The Washington Foreskins.
What the fuck?
I'm probably the only guy on this show or in the chat that has foreskin. So damn it, that one hit home.
Damn. God. Oh man. But I don't know about you guys. I think I've been a fan of this team since probably about the age of 5. As soon as I was able to get somewhat of a general understanding of the game of football, I'm. I think since I started my podcast, I know we've had a chance to talk to some talk to some people that cover the team. We've had a chance to get on a current NFL agent. I think because I know some people are still blame Joe with his contract. I've heard that get brought up, saying that Joe should have took less, which I don't know that I agree with that. And especially if you go to Spot Track and look at the contract breakdowns, final 2 years, yeah, you could rework that, but overall, do I think? Because everybody compares it to Tom Brady. Tom Brady's first contract extension, he actually didn't take less, which he shouldn't have had to. I think by that point he had already had brought them 2 Super Bowls, and when you're doing along the lines of that, it's like, why take less? But yeah, so I'm gonna be curious going into this. Do we keep T? Do we restructure Trey and extend him? Because it
BJ
is.
Hill, Mike Hilton. There's a lot of free agents too. Akeem
I
Davis
think
Gaither, you know.
I think the team's going to look very different next year in the
I thought
sense that
Akeem just sign a deal last year? Didn't he do
signed a 1 year. He signed a 1 year deal.
oh, was it only 1 years?
Yeah, it was only a 1 year deal. So the team's going to look really different next year. I don't know that I see that there are a couple guys. There's a couple of guys I pretty much can almost guarantee I think are gone. BJ Hill, I think, is one of them.
Yeah, fuzzy balls.
Fuzzy balls.
Fuzzy ball. Yeah, that Dak Prescott $60 million a year is crazy work, honestly.
Well, for a B-level quarterback, yeah, no, that's highway robbery. But then again, what have we said before? Jerry Jones is
He's
Jerry Jones.
Jerry Jones.
So what are you gonna do? Jerry Jones is just sitting there saying, "Well, Dak, I told you."
Anthony fucking firing off an impression. He loves
My
it.
name is Jerry Jones, and I am the owner of the Dallas Cowboys. Always remember, folks. How about them Cowboys? Oh shit!
Dusty, you got anything else? I think we got to end this one. Can't top a Jerry Jones impersonation from Anthony.
No, that was pretty good. I think everything's going to be pretty interesting.
Would you
how it
like
shakes.
Would you like some candy, Dusty?
I think I'm good, Anthony. But thanks for the
I
offer.
don't know, man. Is it like Hot Tamales, Sour Patch Kids? Like what you got? What you got in that truck, Anthony?
I guess I should.
That truck.
I guess I should have asked him what kind of what's he got offered here. But
Is it a blow
Oh,
pop?
God.
What do I got to do for that blow pop?
no, I do like some Sour Patch Kids. But
Who doesn't?
but no, I'd like to see T back. I think the free agency is going to determine a lot with this draft. So that's going to be fun. Like Dale said, Project Game Day. If you guys don't listen, make sure you go give Anthony and Tyler and Will a listen. Those dudes, a lot of fun, cover a lot of good stuff. Yeah, hopefully.
Bengals Army too. Come on now, don't. I'll
Yeah.
let you hype your stuff, and I'll let Anthony do the same before we end this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my once every month and a half show. But when we do come on, it's always fun. So just if you do follow us and do that little whatever that button is, Jared Goff just looks like he threw another interception, but there's a
What?
flag.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like he might. I don't know if he threw one or not. There's a penalty flag on the play. But yeah, when we do shows, it's a lot of fun. So if you subscribe to us and get the little notification thing. Like when we do go on, we have a lot of fun. We have good conversations. So Bengals Army.
Interception stands. Penalty
Oh,
declined. The penalty was a legal man downfield on Graham Glasgow, or whatever it's fucking.
ouchie. But yeah,
Up
Project.
10 and the ball for Washington. Continue. Sorry.
Yeah, so make sure you guys Project Game Day. That's something that's really cool. Getting Bengals fans to games that normally wouldn't be able to make it. That's pretty awesome alone. But also, it's people that maybe gone through some tough times and also veterans. So that's some pretty cool stuff. You guys can. And Dale's draft guide, that right there alone, that's a fun thing just leading into the draft to be able to research some players and maybe give you a little more educated advice into who maybe the Bengals will pick, or who you want them to pick. So then you can get some my guys in there.
So it was a pass from Jamison Williams intended for Jahmyr Gibbs. They had a wide receiver pass. I would take a gummy if we were hanging out, Cola King, but sorry, continue.
Yeah, that's all. That's all I got, boys. It was good. It was good chit chatting.
Anthony, tell the people where to follow you, follow the show.
All right.
I appreciate both of you coming on too.
Oh, that's no problem. Well, we usually, me and my buddies, Will and Tyler, we do a Bengals podcast. Right now, we're mainly audio, so you can catch us on most any podcast platform. It's called the Rule the Jungle Podcast. We talk about typically any of your major Bengals topics. From time to time, we get some surprise guests that come on. So if you guys want to go ahead and go over and check that out, definitely do, because hey, we've got some interesting content we've had talks with guys like Corey Dillon, past players like Joe Walter from the '88 Super Bowl team, you name it. So yeah, if you guys want to, definitely go over and give us a check out, and make sure you support the Project Game Day, like Dusty said. Make sure you support Project Game Day because that cause is awesome. It helps build for people that maybe can't get to go check out a Bengals game. Gives them a chance to have the experience of a lifetime, getting to go out and support our favorite team. So that's all I got.
Man, you guys are both awesome. I appreciate you guys coming on. I really do. I appreciate
that's no problem, man.
the Root Crew for making this a fun show, a 3+ hour show on a Saturday night. Man, I love the community that is built. You know, Project Game Day, but it's also the Bengals fan base. Whether it's I even opted in some spaces yesterday. I'm not a big spaces guy, but it's like, hey, I'll try this out. You know, had a Divine Thoughts on our show pop in the other day, so I was like, I'll go in his territory. And Game On, that was running the space, I love him. But it's just the community of the Bengals fan base. And even if you're not a Bengals fan, we have people that hop in that are Chiefs fans or whatever. And yeah, I made that picture, Patrick Mahomes kissing a ref, as the picture for the show. But at the end of the day, man, we're all fans of our teams. We're passionate of our teams, but we're all human beings. And you know, helping other people is very important, and being kind to other people. Just be a kind person. You know, that's my PSA of the day. Just be a decent person. Be a decent human being. God is good. God is great all the time.
Don't be a dick.
Yeah. Don't be a Scott Lieber, you know. But that's the guy who said, you know, using the F word was, you know, poor use of the English language. All right, Scott, sorry.
Fuck you, Scott.
He said it, not me.
I'll say it. I don't care.
But it's awesome, man. This fan base is awesome. The Brew Crew is awesome. Anthony's awesome. Dusty's awesome. I couldn't be any more thrilled with where my life is currently, just as a man, as a father, as a human being. And season didn't go how I wanted as a Bengals fan. That's okay. The people I've met on this journey of as being a Bengals fan for 20 plus years and season ticket holder for 4, wouldn't trade it for the world, man. met a lot of great people, through doing this show. A lot of good things have happened with the Project Game Day. I am very thankful, very happy, very humbled to even be able to come on a stream and have almost 200 people tune in to a live show. I mean, that means a lot to me. So I appreciate you guys, and we will have a show on Monday. Probably be very national championship centric because the national championship game is Monday, and also Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And I might not be African American like you, Anthony, but Martin Luther King was a damn good one. All right, yeah. I am. He just gave me the pass. He gave me the N-word pass.
Well, think about it. Look at it like this.
I'm kidding.
Chop adopted me. Well, I'm Chop's illegitimate son, or bastard son, as he likes to put it.
Nah. And life is good, man. Life is good. We're here for a short time, not here for a long time. But part of this show has been here for a fun time. So make someone else smile in this short time we have on this earth. I appreciate everybody. You guys are awesome. Houday forever.